One Piece Supreme Control, Chapter 881-900. Chapter 881 Here Comes. On the top of an unnamed snow-capped mountain, the bald man suddenly opened his eyes. What is terrifying is that there is still an eye on his forehead, but it is closed. Sun Wukong is going to participate in the world's first martial arts meeting. The bald man had a smile on his face. Beside him, a cute-looking, childlike person also spoke out. Yeah, I heard them say, Keelan and the others are clamoring to participate in this martial arts meeting. I'm going too. The bald man affirmed with a serious tone. Then, he looked into the distance with deep eyes. The wind was blowing, and the blood was falling. In this icy and snowy scene, the temperature is very low. But the bald man was naked, as if the cold outside would not cause him any harm at all. Tianjin Rice. Quote. Behind him, the low man murmured, his eyes full of anticipation. Only he knows how hard this bald man has practiced over the years and how cruelly he has practiced. Because of this, he also gained power that ordinary people can't imagine. So, he has the confidence to challenge that person again. Snowflakes fell, and the two figures, one tall and one short, gradually disappeared on the top of the snowy mountain. These two people are Tianjin Rice and Dumplings. Meanwhile, on an island, the two voices collided with each other, but it was a man and a woman. Keelan, you have to work harder, or you won't be able to beat me. Number 18, with golden hair, said coldly. Krillin gave a wry smile. He naturally knew that number 18's power was so powerful that it completely crushed him. But it's not his fault, the two have completely different physiques. Haha, father can't beat mother. Dad is too weak. On the side, a little girl with braids in the sky laughed loudly. Krillin had more headaches, but there was obvious doting in his eyes. Eat my punch. The 18th punched, and Krillin, who was distracted, was smashed into the air. 3 seconds later, rubbing his flushed cheeks, he stood up and complained, you don't need to work so hard, number 18. Quote. You have to train hard, you have to live up to your expectations, win prizes, and if you don't work hard, this time the world's #1 martial arts club, you can only be soy sauce. Number 18 gave a serious lesson to Clint Road. Krillin scratched his head and said with a bitter expression, I just wanted to go and see the fun. Sun Wukong's group of Saiyans is too powerful, and Keelan has long given up his resistance. Young people today are so unmotivated, alas. At this time, an old man with a turtle shell walked out of the house and sighed. Krillin's face darkened immediately. You are so arrogant that you will be. The mountain wind was blowing, and the slightest wind blew the white robe behind him. Around his body, there are fast flashing thunder and lightning constantly on and off, hidden power fluctuations surround his body, and the surrounding natural aura keeps gathering towards his body. The Namekian suddenly opened his eyes, and there was a faint smile in his eyes. Wukong, finally found the opportunity to fight you again. On weekdays, these separated Earth powerhouses are about to gather together again because of the first martial arts meeting in the world. In the center of Satan, in a villa manor. Bang! With a push and sweep, a sandbag weighing 300 pounds was directly kicked out. Next to him, the burly and sturdy-looking bodyguard was stunned and swallowed quietly. This is Mr. Satan's daughter, she is too strong. Another sandbag, this one is too fragile. Frowning her brows, Biddy Lee shouted. This is the 24th punching bag you've kicked. The bodyguard was speechless. Faintly, he felt that compared to Mr. Satan, the Savior's daughter seemed more powerful. Watching the bodyguard leave with the kicked sandbag, Biddy Lee had a thoughtful look in her eyes. The cultivation of chi during this period has made me a lot stronger. He clenched his fists, and since he came into contact with the group of Sun Wufan, he discovered that human beings can achieve such a state through cultivation. I need to be stronger. The #1 martial arts club in the world, I'm also going to participate. With a firm gaze, Biddy Lee continued to practice. Without a sandbag, she went down cross-legged, feeling the chi in her body, in nature. Everyone is working hard for the upcoming #1 martial arts club in the world, and everyone has not let up. Just when these people were immersed in further cultivation, an aircraft quietly landed on the earth. Is it here, Dapra? A high-pitched voice came from the mouth of a low, ugly-looking cosmos. Yes, Lord Babidi, Dapra replied with a flattering smile. What a weak planet. Babidi said disdainfully. Hurry up and find Majin Buu's egg, we have to summon him quickly. Yes. Dapra responded with a smile, and with a wave of his hand, 5 or 6 figures flew out from behind him and flew towards the distant sky. This chapter is not over, click on the next page to continue reading. But within a quarter of an hour, these monsters or people from the demon world came back. Lord Babidi, according to the clues you provided, we have found the place where Majin Buu is. Dapra smiled as he reported. Oh, then take me there quickly. Babidi's eyes lit up, a little excited. Afterwards, this group of aliens, who were clearly different from the people on Earth, quickly left. They are not high profile, but according to the original, they established a low-key base on the Earth, and then bewitched the evil guys on the Earth, gave them power, and let them go to find the energy source. In front of the wooden house, Yang Qing, who was watering the flowers, was slightly startled, and then a smile appeared on his face. Finally, is it here? After his breakthrough, the physique of the gods, as well as some powerful abilities, had already made him aware of the existence of Babidi's group. However, he didn't have much action either. Compared to Char's ruthless character, who would do anything to make himself stronger, he was closer to a Saiyan, and he liked fighting. Majin Buu, what kind of power does he possess? In the original novel, Frieza's father once said to him that he was the most unprovoked in this world. One was the god of destruction, and the other was Majin Buu. It is conceivable that if you can put Majin Buu and the god of destruction together, how powerful is this Majin? Therefore, Yang Qing is also looking forward to it. Soon, it's coming. No hurry, no hurry. Continuing to water the flowers calmly, Yang Qing recovered his mind and stopped paying attention to Babidi's group. As for Dapra, this guy who was killed by his one move has long been ignored. Chapter 882. We have the same origin. Time passed slowly, and the warriors of the earth all entered the practice. On the contrary, Yang Qing was idle, and Sun Wufan went a step further. Recently, he has been consolidating new powers. Moreover, there was also a small oil bottle beside him. Sun Wuxian, who didn't want to lose to Trunks in the martial arts meeting, pestered Sun Wuhan to practice with the latter all day long. Sun Wuxian turned into a Super Saiyan directly, which surprised Sun Wuhan. You must know that at that time, they all went through hard training to transform into Chaosai, and when they got to Sun Wufan, it became so easy. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed. On this day, it was the day when the 25th World's #1 Martial Arts Club began. It's still the island, full of people and lively. On the flat ground of the island, aircrafts fell from time to time, and then a group of pedestrians walked out. Or at the port, cruise ships approach, and many people board the island. Every session of the World #1 Martial Arts Club attracts people from all over the world, especially those who are curious about martial arts. Around noon, a group of people got off the aircraft. It's still so lively here. The short man walking in front folded his arms and said with a smile. I really miss the time when Wukong and I participated in the competition here when we were young. At that time, Wukong couldn't beat me. Okay, Keelan, now Wukong can't beat him with just one finger. What do you miss in the past? Yamcha complained, making everyone laugh. Krillin staggered and almost fell to the ground, with black lines all over his face. You don't do the same, and you call me, baseball player. Krillin turned his head and made a grimace, which made everyone laugh even more. Let's go sign up first. Sun Wukong smiled. Everyone nodded and walked towards the island together. I squeezed through the dense crowd, and it took 5 minutes before I squeezed into the registration area. There are so many people, it feels more lively than we were back then. Krillin sighed. Their group, including Sun Wukong, Sun Wufan, Sun Wuxian, Piccolo, Helan, Yamcha, Chi-Chi, Turtle Immortal, Yang Qing, and Faku, were considered the last team. Sign up now. Faku is cold and cold. People didn't care either, they were already familiar with Faku's icy look. After queuing up one by one to sign up, he breathed a sigh of relief. But at this moment, there was a smile in Yang Qing's eyes, and he also walked to the registration office. Qing, I'll sign up too. This scene shocked Sun Wukong and his group, but then, Sun Wukong became excited. Haha, Qing, that's great, I've always wanted to fight with you again, and finally I have a chance. Looking at your high nature, I will use 5% of my power to play with you. Yang Qing smiled and nodded. 5%. The corners of Keelan's mouth trembled, but in the end he held back from looking at Yang Qing, which was really shocking. In this world, how can there be a pervert like Yang Qing, who can compete with Sun Wukong with only 5%? I'm looking forward to fighting you, Master. Sun Gohan's eyes also lit up. He and Yang Qing practiced together for a long time, but after all, it was practice, and when it came to fighting, it was very rare. At this moment, a cold humming sound came from behind. Kakarot, you will definitely lose to me this time. It was Vegeta's voice. He held his arms in his arms and stood directly at the front, blocking the road of everyone, making it impossible for those who wanted to sign up later to pass. Many people wanted to push Vegeta away, but found that the ladder was like a mountain, standing there motionless. Haha, Vegeta, I'm looking forward to fighting you too. Sun Wukong laughed. He was starting to get a little excited. This competition seems to be very interesting. And me, Wukong, I won't be merciful in this martial arts conference. One person stepped out, it was Tianjin Rice. Tianjin Rice. Quote. Everyone looked at the ladder in surprise, who had not seen it for many years, and could clearly feel the change in the ladder. The smile on Sun Wukong's face became more and more prosperous, and the Saiyan's blood was boiling. Sun Gohan, Vegeta, Tianjin Fan, Piccolo, Qing, Faku, these people are all first-class players, and he is very much looking forward to the next battle. It was so good. Then, everyone gathered together and walked towards the resting place. The opening test has not yet started, but the #1 martial arts club in the world has set up a street for them to rest. Just as he was walking to a wide street, Sun Wukong's originally smiling face suddenly changed and became serious. What's wrong, Wukong? Krillin wondered. Sun Wukong didn't answer, and looked forward with a solemn expression, while Piccolo was a little shocked. Only then did everyone notice the changes in the two, and followed their gazes to the front. There, two figures came slowly. One was tall and burly, walking, while the other, slightly shorter, with a weird hairstyle, floated forward 3 inches off the ground. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. Sun Wukong. A slightly sharp voice came out, inexplicably giving people a kind of coercion, making everyone stop talking about the topic. You are. Sun Wukong looked at the two people in front of him curiously, but felt that they were unfamiliar. You'll soon find out who I am. The person said with a smile, but it made people feel a little gloomy. Hello. Seeing that the other party stretched out his right hand, Sun Wukong also stretched out his hand. Piccolo's eyes narrowed, only to feel that his whole body was frozen, as if being suppressed by an inexplicable divine might. He was flustered. After the two shook hands calmly, they slowly left. Suddenly, just after the two people who made everyone feel mysterious passed by them, the mysterious man spoke again. Wait a minute. Everyone stopped and turned around again. The mysterious man glanced at Sun Wukong, swept to everyone's faces one by one, and finally stopped on Yang Qing. I have seen you. Inexplicably, The mysterious man's eyes were a little dignified. Yes, you have seen me. Yang Qing chuckled lightly. Who the hell are you? You've become even more different from that time. The mysterious man asked curiously. I am. Yang Qing paused, stared into the eyes of the person who came, and said in a low voice. King God. What? The visitor's pupils shrank, his body trembled, and his heart was filled with a huge inconceivable. It's impossible, who are you? Yang Qing smiled slightly, his eyes flashed, a trace of divine power stretched out from his body, and the corners of his mouth pondered. Isn't it? We are of the same origin. Chapter 883 Identity. This trace of divine power was extended and transmitted to Zhuang God, and immediately made his face appear shocked. Because, he could feel that what the guy in front of him said was right, that divine power was really the same power as the realm. Who are you? The realm king's eyes became solemn. This time in the lower realm, even if he wanted to break his head, he never thought that he would encounter this mysterious guy. He can be sure that this guy is not the king god of other universes. The aura of the universe in that body cannot be changed at all. You can call me Qing. As for my identity, like you, I'm also a realm god. Yang Qing smiled lightly. He used to be in the status of the World King God Reserve, but since he entered the state of Super Saigon, he has truly stepped into the realm of God, and he is no different from the real King God. Jia Wangshen's pupils shrank, and he took a deep look at Yang Qing, trying to identify the exact identity of the person in front of him, but found nothing. Soon, we will meet again. Yang Qing said indifferently. The words entered the ears of the realm king, making the latter startled. This sentence is exactly what he said to the group of people in front of him not long ago. Without waiting for him to react, Yang Qing and his party walked away from here, and soon distanced themselves from him. This guy. Zhuangshan's eyes narrowed, staring at Yang Qing's back. Lord Realm God, what kind of identity is this guy? Jabbat asked suspiciously. I don't know either. The Realm King shook his head, his eyes deep. But the aura on his body is indeed the aura of the Realm King God. A look of shock flashed across Jabbat's eyes. Come on, we have more important things to do. When the voice of Kaiwang came, Jabbat reacted, calmed down, and followed Kaiwang to leave here quickly. Goku, who was that guy just now? Do you know him? Separating from Kaiwang God, Krillin immediately asked curiously. Wukong shook his head. I haven't seen him. That's weird, he seems to know you. Krillin wondered. The conversation between Yang Qing and the realm god just now was deliberately blurred by the people present. Only Piccolo's eyes flashed with doubts, and he stared at Yang Qing and glanced, but he was still a little confused. I seem to have forgotten something important. All the people present had forgotten the conversation between Yang Qing and the realm god. This is the magic of divine power, the power that mortals cannot do, but God can easily accomplish. After a period of rest, everyone began to enter the preliminaries. Different from the usual number 1 martial arts club in the world, this one started to use boxing machines and judged according to the data. Next, as in the original, Vegeta broke several boxing machines, and everyone else touched it lightly. Soon, it was Yang Qing's turn. Walking slowly, Yang Qing had a smile on his face. Behind him, many people were watching him. Before, the group of them had achieved terrible results, and the onlookers were also wondering how this guy would surprise everyone. However, 3 seconds later, Yang Qing disappointed everyone. Yang Qing, who walked to the boxing machine, just reached out and touched the surface of the boxing machine lightly. When a crisp voice sounded, and a number appeared on the boxing machine. Everyone was stunned and couldn't help wiping their eyes. Compared with the results of the previous few people, the results of this red-haired young man are simply too normal. Many martial artists who have practiced for several years can also achieve it. Such a result is just enough to reach the qualifying line. After passing the preliminaries, the organizers soon began to group. During this period, the Realm King God never appeared again. Instead, it was a corner of the game that made Yang Qing's eyes narrow. Hey, hey hey hey. Dark laughter kept coming out. 2 or 3 people gathered together and looked at the players present with evil eyes, as if they were looking at food, and even mouths and water flowed down from their mouths, making everyone a wild aversion to cold. Hey, these people are so disgusting. Krillin shuddered and said in disgust. Yang Qing retracted his eyes and smiled. These 3 people are Babiti's subordinates, the dog legs used to collect energy. After waiting for a while, the game finally started around the afternoon. Like the original, everyone played in order, and the opponents were easily defeated in front. Until it's time for Bidley. Come on, Bidley. Sun Wufan blushed and encouraged the latter. Bidley was also a little shy, and then she gathered up her courage, clenched her fists, and quickly bumped fists with Sun Gohan. I will win. Bidley said confidently. Seeing Bidley like this, Sun Wufan's eyes were infatuated, and he laughed. It's really worthless. Yang Qing stood aside and shook his head. As the battle began, everyone's eyes became more and more solemn. At the beginning, Bidley had an absolute advantage, but this chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. After she kicked the opponent's head out of the way, her form changed drastically. It's over, the guy was kicked to death, and Bidley is going to be sentenced to the end. God, Bidley has murdered. How could this be? Bidley's friends and classmates were all stunned. They covered their mouths and couldn't believe this scene. But, next. Hey 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 hey. The opponent actually stood up with his head tilted. That weird smile and tilted head suddenly made everyone feel aroused. Quack. Bone rub. The sound of rubbing sounded, and the head that was twisted actually recovered. Once again, the opponent charged up. Bidley's eyes narrowed and she attacked again. After a few punches and kicks, the opponent fell down again. However, 3 seconds later, the opponent stood up again. Spobich, how can he be so powerful? Someone recognized the identity of this player and said in disbelief. In previous years, Spobich also participated in the martial arts club, but where did he perform like this? The King of God stood in the dark corner, watching this scene. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Target appeared. Yang Qing looked at Zhuang Shen, and also grinned, and in his deep eyes, he didn't know what he was thinking. As in the original book, Bidley took off at the end, but was caught by the flying Spobich and hit the ground hard. In just a few strokes, Bidley was injured. Bidley. Son Gohan shouted worriedly from the side. Calm down, Gohan, if you can't control your anger, it's not just you who will be unlucky. Yang Qing reminded aloud. Damn it. Chapter 884 Invincible Lonely. Looking anxiously at Bidley, who was beaten with blood from his mouth, Sun Wufan was in a state of disarray. Don't worry, it's me too. Yang Qing patted Sun Wufan on the shoulder. Sun Wufan nodded absently, but his eyes were still fixed on the field. Glancing at Sun Wufan helplessly, Yang Qing's right hand slowly lifted. Following his movements, the king god standing in a remote corner also stared at him with a condensed gaze. If you want to determine Yang Qing's identity, watching him take action is undoubtedly a good way. Boom. In front of Yang Qing's fingers, there were ripples in the void, and circles of ripples appeared. These ripples were not big, but they were very violent. After a breath, a ripple distorted and began to shoot out. This target was exactly Spobich, who beat Bidley on the field. But at this moment, the right hand of Kaiwangshan also raised. Boom. An invisible wave also rippling, and the two have exactly the same way of outputting, and even the force is almost the same. Soon, the two ripples collided quickly, and then dissipated into nothing. All of this happened in a flash of lightning, and everyone around was unaware. Don't shoot, I'll keep him in great use. That girl will be fine, I promise. The voice of the Realm King rang softly in Yang Qing's ear. I know what you're doing, but he's no longer needed. A smile appeared on the corner of Yang Qing's mouth, and the words rang in the ears of the realm. The next moment, his fingers were raised again, trembling slightly. This time, Kai Wangshen did not react, and the ripples from this finger had already hit Spobek in the field. The latter suddenly shook his entire body, as if he was hit by a huge force, and his entire body flew up. Then, it fell violently to the ground. At this time, it was already outside the field. Spobech out of bounds, Bidley wins. The referee host glanced at it, his eyes were a little dazed, and finally he reacted and shouted loudly. All the onlookers were a little stunned, they didn't even see how Spobech lost. Roar! Immediately afterwards, Spobech suddenly bounced off the ground, let out a low roar, and his face became much more hideous. At this moment, he seemed to be no longer human, and he was full of fierce aura. At this moment, the other two ran up, held him down, and quickly retreated. Don't mess around here, be careful to spoil the adults. The realm god let out a sigh of relief and glanced at Yangqing. Fortunately, nothing bad. He wanted to wait for the target to be exposed, lead the way for him, and find the lair of the demon Boo, but before that, he must not be able to frighten the snake, otherwise, any random detail may attract Babiti's attention. Are you looking for Majin Buu? Suddenly, a voice rang in the ears of the Realm King, making him immediately alert. But soon, he realized that the voice was made by the red-haired boy. Who the hell are you? Once again, Kaiwang God asked. As I said, my name is Qing. Yang Qing was a little helpless. So, Qing, what's your purpose here? The Realm King asked solemnly. Only he knows about Majin Buu, how could this owl know such a thing? Why, you know Majin Buu. The demon Buu, who killed the 3 Realm Kings, is still very famous, of course I know it. Yang Qing smiled and paused before saying, as for what I'm doing here, I just want to find an opponent. That's all. Looking for an opponent. The Realm King's pupils shrank. He knows that as a god, there are actually many guys with different hobbies, some like flowers and plants, living a normal life, and some like fighting, and constantly cultivate themselves every day. God, there are strengths and weaknesses. He himself, although he has some strength, is not a fighting god after all. And this guy in front of him actually said that he came here to find an opponent. Here, are there any opponents that make you worth shooting? The king of the realm wondered. Earthlings are generally weak to Kaiwangshan. Even a cosmic emperor like Frieza is no match for a finger in his hand. The ones next to you have good strength. Yang Qing motioned to the Realm King and looked behind him. Kaiwangshan was startled, and what he saw was Sun Wukong, Sun Wuhan and Vegeta. Saiyan. Slightly stunned, Zhuangshen shook his head, but he didn't quite believe what Yang Qing said. I will help you find Majin Buu and deal with him, but I have a condition. Yang Qing's voice came again, making the realm god come to his senses. It is indeed very stressful and dangerous for him to face the Realm King God alone, but if there is one more Realm King God, especially the battle-type Realm King God, this matter will be very promising. What conditions? Let me fight Majin Buu. This chapter is not over, click on the next page to continue reading. Field. A smile appeared on Yang Qing's face. However, in contrast to him, the Realm King God's expression changed drastically. He gave him a horrified look, followed by direct objection. Impossible. Since you have heard his name, then you must know that the 5 realm gods fought against him and sacrificed 4 to seal him. Don't you know how powerful he is? I actually wanted to fight him one-on-one. I will never allow this to happen. Absolutely not. The reason why the realm is so excited is not only that Yang Qing is angry, but also because he is the only realm left in this world, so it's hard to find another one. Although the identity is mysterious, it belongs to him anyway, so naturally he can't let him die in vain. Jia Wangshen, have you ever thought that you don't know how strong my power is? Yang Qing's eyes became deep. His voice was a little lonely, and a little too cold at the heights. In this world, apart from the god of destruction, Majin Buu, I really can't find any opponents who can make my shot. Perhaps, the future Sun Wukong can do it, but it's still not enough. In this voice, there was an invincible loneliness, and the Realm King was stunned. He could hear clearly, the words of this red-haired boy turned out to be serious. Actually, whether you agree or not, I'm going to fight Majin Buu. He is at his peak, he is really looking forward to it. There is a trace of desire and desire in Yang Qing's eyes. This is the desire and desire for his opponent. Chapter 885 is very strong. I absolutely won't allow this to happen. The voice of Kaiwang God is very certain. You don't even know the horror of Majin Buu. Yang Qing smiled and no longer responded to the Realm King. The voices of the two sounded directly in each other's minds. This was a communication between gods, and the people next to them didn't notice it. Soon, the game continued. When it came to the battle between Sun Gohan and Spobuch, everyone was interested. Gohan's turn, haha. Just now, Spobuch beat Bidili badly. Thanks to the fairy bean, Bidili can recover quickly. Among them, Sun Gohan is the most angry. This time, when they met Spobuch, everyone could foresee Spobuch's end. In the eyes of Earth's super warriors, no matter how powerful Spobuch is, he is not the opponent of Metamorphic and Metamorphic Saiyans. The battle begins soon, and Sun Gohan is still as in the original, showing a powerful force for Spobuch. This is Super 1. It's 2. The violent light flickered, and Sun Gohan's chi swelled to the extreme. On the side, the God of Realm, who was observing silently, swallowed his saliva, his eyes full of incredulity. Actually, it's so powerful. It is unimaginable that he would not believe that there would be such a powerful guy without coming to the lower realm. Gohan, you've improved a lot. Piccolo nodded with satisfaction, his eyes very soft. Piccolo has the best relationship with Gohan. It can be said that Son Gohan was basically brought up by him. Watching the other party grow stronger and stronger step by step, to the age of raising children and starting a family now, Vic felt a lot in his heart. Energy, a lot of energy, great. In the dark corner, Four Eyes stared at Son Gohan excitedly, and Spobuch's eyes were getting brighter and brighter. After absorbing his energy, our purpose of coming out this time has been achieved. Lord Dapra, you will definitely praise us. The eyes became more and more excited, and they held back their excitement, waiting for the opportunity to appear. Those guys will definitely take action. The Realm King was also nervous at the moment, and his sharp eyes glanced everywhere. With such a huge energy source, Babiti's subordinates will definitely be unable to bear it. Sure enough, 4 seconds later, Son Gohan assumed an attacking stance and was about to prepare for battle. At this moment, a familiar voice made him stunned for a moment. Immediately after, a force of imprisonment enveloped his body, making him unable to move. Then, among the lightning and flint, 3 figures rushed towards him directly, crushing him to the ground in an instant. This sudden scene made the onlookers widen their eyes, and the host was stunned. Hey, what are you doing? It's illegal. Go off, Spobuch, and these 2 players, all off. He shouted loudly, but the 3 people in the field ignored him, and even one person glanced at him with a ferocious smile, so frightened that he couldn't help but take a step back. Fear, intimidate the referee. Gohan. Kaylin couldn't help but was about to shoot, but was pulled by Sun Wukong. Goku. Looking at Sun Wukong suspiciously, the latter gave him a solemn look and shook his head. Kaylin didn't understand, but he didn't take action. He knew that Wukong would not harm Sun Wufan. Soon, more than 10 seconds passed, and the eyes of the 3 people flashed with excitement, and gradually let go of Sun Wuhan. Then, they jumped and flew into the air. Fly, fly. Seeing this scene, the crowd opened their mouths in shock again, unable to believe it. After that, Kai Wangshen and others just strode towards Sun Gohan. Jebet. Kai Wangshen let out a cry, and the latter immediately squatted down and put both hands on Sun Gohan's body. Boom. A faint halo appeared, and Sun Wufan's breath quickly recovered. However, Jabit's expression changed slightly. What a powerful chi! If you don't experience it personally, it's hard to understand the power of Sun Gohan. When Jabit regained the other party's anger, he realized how terrible Sun Gohan was. Lord Realm God, he is very strong. Kai Wangshan's eyes flashed and he glanced at Sun Wufan. Perhaps, you can contribute to defeating Majin Buu. Afterwards, Sun Gohan slowly stood up, felt his body, and found that there was no difference. Master, what's the matter? He asked suspiciously. The voice just now was passed on to him by Yang Qing. Otherwise, just relying on Spobich, he can turn the opponent into scum with a few tricks. What is difficult is the imprisoning force behind it, but it is only difficult. With his current strength, he can easily smash it. Follow him. Next, he will tell you the reason for the incident on the way. Yang Qing pointed at the Realm King God with a faint smile on his face. It's too late to explain. Everyone, come with me. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. Bring it on. Kai Wangshan said quickly, and then he stood up. The others glanced at each other and couldn't understand the situation. They also moved their bodies and flew with the Kaiwang god. In the blink of an eye, Sun Wukong and his party all left the arena. This scene made the host bewildered. On the way, people kept expressing their amazement. Majin Buu. Evil Archmage, Babidi. They, on Earth. The Earth will be destroyed by them. Are you the Kaiwang god? The highest god in the universe? For these guys who might be able to help him in the future, Kai Wangshan did not hide the truth. After speaking, he couldn't help but glance at Yang Qing. He also knows all this. However, I still don't recommend that you provoke Majin Buu. The plan this time is to reseal Majin Buu without awakening him. Yang Qing had a smile on his face, but he didn't care about the advice of the Realm King. How can you give up when you can fight a powerful opponent? At this time, Sun Wukong also touched his fists and laughed. Yeah, a guy like Majin Buu sounds so exciting. Kakarot, you guy, don't forget our first battle. Vegeta said coldly. Hey, Vegeta, yes, I'd love to know how you've improved over the years. Sun Wukong laughed. Humph. Vegeta snorted coldly. Are you really not worried about Majin Buu at all? Kai Wangshan couldn't believe that this group of people didn't care about Majin Buu so much. Don't worry, Lord Realm God, Master Qing is very strong. Sun Gohan said with a smile. Chapter 886 Shadow. No matter how strong it is, there will be no Majin Buu strong. You don't know the horror of that guy at all. The Realm God gritted his teeth. He was really helpless to these people. Where did the confidence come from, actually believing that he could defeat that terrifying fellow Majin Buu? Hee, Realm King God, let's watch first. Yang Qing said with a smile. Majin Buu's strength, he is naturally clear. The strength of the guy who can fight hard with Vegeta, the combined warrior of Monkey King and Vegeta, is so terrifying that it is difficult to measure with the naked eye. In the original book, all the signs that involve the introduction of Majin Buu can roughly judge the horror of this guy. Demon Buu, who can easily smash a dimension and enter another dimension, can be called a super warrior in this universe, and he has far surpassed other races in the universe. Powerful magic, terrifying undead body, and inherently powerful strength, he can even absorb the opponent's strength and turn it into his own. Even at this moment, Yang Qing couldn't imagine how powerful this devil was in that era when the 5 realm kings and gods were all there. What is certain is that the Majin Buu in the original book must not be his peak or peak strength. So, where is his limit? Yang Qing was very curious. If his power at the moment burst into full force, it would be extremely terrifying. For the time being, it would be difficult to find an opponent in this universe. Soon, everyone followed behind Spobik and had reached their destination. Is it there? It's very mysterious. Krillin looked around curiously. In the basin in front, there were alien buildings that were obviously different from the Earth style. Several figures appeared from the door and joined Spobic and others. The excited Spobic hurried up to meet them, but after a few words, they were tragically silenced by Dapra. After easily destroying Spobic and the others, Dapra's gaze turned to Kaiwangshan and the others who were hiding aside. "No, they found us," Piccolo whispered. Everyone immediately became alert, and in an instant, a gloomy smile appeared on Dapra's face, and then flew towards everyone quickly. "Let me come." Son Gohan rushed out immediately, and the Kaiwang god didn't even have time to stop him, and the latter had already arrived in front of Dapra. "It's over, that's Dapra, the king of the demon world, Dapra." Kaiwangshan trembled, not believing that Son Gohan would be the opponent's opponent at all. But in an instant, after the two had fought in the air for hundreds of rounds, they were in a similar situation. That guy, the level of Saru 7 years ago, is definitely not Gohan's opponent. Everyone can see clearly, and now they are relieved. They thought that what the King of God said was serious, and they were also very serious, but at the beginning of the battle, they easily discovered the strength of the other party. "Gohan, get rid of him quickly," Krillin shouted with a look of indifference on his face. "Okay, Krillin." Sun Wukong also put away his playful heart, and there was a trace of seriousness in his eyes. Then, he suddenly transformed into a state of Super Race 2. This transformation scene immediately changed Dapra's eyes. This is... The familiar appearance and state of Sun Wukong reminded him of the fear that he was unwilling to recall in his life. It was a daytime, the grass was green, the wind was light, and opposite him stood a guy with long blonde hair. Then, with just one punch, he was KO'd. You. With obvious panic in his eyes, Dapra actually started to retreat backwards. "What's your relationship with that guy?" Dapra roared loudly, and it could be seen that Yang Qing's battle cast a shadow on him. "That guy, who is it?" Son Gohan was taken aback. "Who are you? How can you transform? How can you be in this state?" Dapra shouted, his body quickly retreated, and he came to Babidi in just a few breaths. "Come in, Lord Babidi." With a hurried voice, Dapra quickly followed Babidi into the alien spaceship. "Hungry? What's the matter?" Sun Wukong flew among the crowd with a confused look on his face. The Realm King God was also stunned for a while, completely unable to react. A powerful warrior with similar strength to him, the king of the demon realm, what the hell is going on in this performance? "I don't know either, he is outside the demon world, his name is Dapra, and he is very powerful." At this time, Yang Qing laughed. "Perhaps, he was scared out of his head by me." Krillin and the others all looked at him. "Qing, what's going on?" Sun Wukong asked curiously. "The dignified king of the devil world, why is he so cowardly? There must be a story in it. Before, I went to the devil world, maybe Dapra still remembers me." Yang Qing said with a light smile, but did not elaborate. Everyone was stunned, and then a clear look flashed in their eyes. They all know that Yang Qing is very powerful. Since he went to the demon world and did something, there is no need to ask. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. You've been to the demon world. On the side, the Realm King God was shocked. Yang Qing shook his head helplessly, but in his heart he was really speechless at the unseen appearance of Zhuangshan. Let's follow along and see. In a word, everyone got up and walked towards the place where Dapra disappeared. You guys have to be careful, their power is nothing to me and Wukong and others, but you guys. Yang Qing shook his head and didn't say much. But the others were clear, Krillin and the others laughed. We'll wait for you outside. Alas, no matter what, there will be no problem with you guys. For Yang Qing, Sun Wukong and others, they have great confidence. In fact, various battles in history have also proved the strength of Sun Wukong and others. Yang Qing, Zhuangshan, Sun Wukong and others came to the outside of the alien ship and looked at the strangely shaped spaceship in front of them, and they were amazed. In fact, Yangqing only observed the spaceship from a distance, but did not look closely at the specifics. Now, standing in front of me, this spaceship looks like one body from top to bottom. For a time, outside, everyone could not find the entrance. They closed the hatch and we couldn't get in. Sun Gohan said in annoyance. Get out of the way. At this time, Vegeta snorted coldly. Everyone was curious to get out of the way, wanting to see what Vegeta could do. But in the next moment, the corners of their eyes trembled and they covered their foreheads. Chapter 887 Evil. You know, this guy won't think of a good way. Boom. A flame burst out, and everyone couldn't help covering their faces, with a wry smile on their faces. Vegeta sent out a Qigong wave with one hand, and actually blew a hole in the spaceship. Let's go. Lightly spit out 2 words, Vegeta strode forward and entered the space capsule directly. Sun Wukong spread his hands at Kai Wangshan, and then followed Vegeta helplessly in, and Kai Wangshan looked confused. Inside the space capsule. Dapra, what's the matter with you? There was anger in Babiti's shrill voice. What he saw just now, the dignified king of the demon world was actually scared, and ran away. Lord Babiti, that man. There was still a look of fear in Dapra's eyes. When he saw the appearance of Son Gohan, deep in his heart, the fear that he thought had been forgotten, awakened again. What happened to that man? Babiti wondered. That person is very strong. After holding back for a long time, Dapra spit out this sentence, still with fear in his eyes. Babiti took a deep look at Dapra before uttering 2 words in a low voice. Trash. Dapra heard it, but there was no dissatisfaction on his face. Babiti's evil magic is very effective against people like him, and it has been completely controlled from the spiritual aspect. These guys have come in, but it's nothing. Arrange those opponents to let them fight. As long as they are in this spaceship, the energy they emit when fighting will be quickly absorbed. At that time, these energies will be the nourishment for Majin Buu's recovery. Babiti looked at the phantom in his hand, and there was a hint of cruelty in his eyes. After slowly chanting a series of incantations, the aircraft that was pierced by a Qigong wave from Vegeta slowly recombined again. And this scene, Vegeta and others did not see. They all jumped down along the door in the center of the spaceship. As in the original, Babiti has opponents for everyone. After walking down the road easily, Babiti's face became more and more ugly. In fact, as Dapra said, this group of people is extremely powerful. The Realm King God also stared at Sun Wukong and the others in a stunned manner. You guys, you actually possess such power. His voice trembled with excitement. Sun Wufan made a fuss about the back of his head, smiled, and said nothing. Vegeta snorted coldly and punched open the hatch on the next floor again. Kakarot, remember, after solving this monster Buu, there must be a battle between you and me. My cultivation all these years is to defeat you. Clenching his fists, Vegeta's face was a little grim. Sun Wukong's eyes flashed, and he noticed that Vegeta at the moment was a little different. The Realm God stood between the two of them, nervously smoothing out the field. These guys are all powerful players. If they really get together, maybe they can really defeat Majin Buu. In fact, he doesn't know how powerful Majin Buu is, but these guys in front of him are really strong. Far beyond his strength, he originally planned to be alone and invite some powerhouses in the universe to participate, but he never expected to meet such a powerful group of people, which was an unexpected gain. At this time, Babiti showed a sneer. He glanced at Dapra behind him and said in a low voice, compared to this guy, that short guy is obviously stronger. I am so lucky. I didn't expect that there would be such a guy among them. I didn't notice it at first. Babiti's eyes flashed, the corners of his mouth curved, and a smug smile appeared again. Just create an opportunity for both of you to satisfy your desires. So, when several people were stunned, the scene in front of them changed, and the figures of Vegeta and Sun Wukong had been lost. "Where's Papa and Uncle Vegeta?" Sun Gohan asked curiously. Kai Wangshan's expression also changed. He knew that there was an evil aura on Vegeta's body, and when he thought of Babidi magic, his expression became even more ugly. "Vegeta, it may be controlled by Babidi, damn it." The Realm King clenched his fist. "Nervous in my heart. Vegeta's strength is very strong. If joining the opposite side, it will undoubtedly weaken their strength, but strengthen the other side. This is simply a big deal. Master, what should we do now?" Sun Wukong was flustered when he saw the World King, and turned his attention to Yang Qing. "Go down and see Majin Buu." Yang Qing smiled lightly, pointing out with one finger that the exit to the next floor opened immediately. "Yeah." Sun Wukong nodded and followed behind Yang Qing. He is very similar to Yang Qing. They are both dressed in black martial arts uniforms with a big, green, on the back. Next, led by Yang Qing, all the opponents they encountered were easily solved by Sun Wukong. Beside Babidi, Da. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. But Pua's face became more and more frightened, and even at the end, her whole body trembled and trembled. "It's him. It's really him. It's the guy." Babidi frowned, looking at Dapra with increasingly dissatisfied eyes. "Dapra, what's the matter with you? Who is it?" That red-haired guy, although his hair color is different and much younger, but with that kind of temperament, that kind of appearance, it must be him, it can't be wrong." Dapra trembled. His fear of Yang Qing had reached a certain level. At this moment, Yang Qing in the picture suddenly raised his head and looked towards the two of them. Those indifferent eyes seemed to stare at the two of them in an instant, and even Yang Qing showed a casual smile. Bang! Babidi's hands trembled, and the phantom in front of him shattered directly. Who the hell is that red-haired guy? At this time, Babidi also realized the horror of Yang Qing. At a glance, his magic collapsed. From this, it can be seen that the other party is terrifying. Also, there's that guy who can turn his hair blonde, and he's also very strong. His eyes became solemn, and Babidi clenched his hands subconsciously. But then, he glanced at the scale of Majin Buu dome again, and his face relaxed again. At this rate, with those two guys fighting, Majin Buu will soon be able to wake up. At that time, Majin Buu will wake up in a complete state. How powerful! Hey, he'll make the whole universe tremble. Chapter 888 Arrival. Dapra was still shivering in the corner, and the impression Yang Qing left on him made his spirit almost collapse. Looking at Dapra's appearance, Babidi snorted even more fiercely. The Demon King of the Demon Realm increasingly disappointed him. It's still this newly controlled guy, and he has a lot of promise. Looking at the picture, Vegeta waved 4 golden rings to control Sun Wukong. In addition to the sky-high power that burst out at this moment, Babidi's face showed an expression of joy. Under such energy fluctuations, it is believed that Majin Buu will be born soon. He nodded with satisfaction, then flicked his right hand, and a phantom scene appeared in the field again. Huh! Seeing this, Babidi's complexion immediately changed drastically. These guys. In the picture, Yang Qing and others are moving towards the bottom quickly. At this speed, it is clearly not far from here. No, they must be sent elsewhere. Glancing at the two Sun Wukong Vegeta who were fighting fiercely, Babidi's heart moved. Closing his eyes, Babidi chanted a spell toward the phantom. As he recited a series of strange spells, a strange wave in the void immediately radiated toward the outside world. In the aircraft, Yang Qing and others, who were only 3 floors away from Babidi, were walking slowly. Suddenly, Yang Qing and the team stopped. What's wrong, Master? Sun Wukong asked curiously when he saw this scene. It's kind of interesting. Yang Qing's eyes flashed, and a smile appeared on his face. The next moment, he looked up again and looked at the void, as if he saw Babidi who was watching him directly through the air. Crack! Babidi's face changed, and the phantom in front of him dissipated again. And the mouth that was chanting the spell suddenly stopped. This guy is a little weird. His face became serious, and the red-haired guy flashed in Babiti's eyes. He glanced at Dapra again, and seemed to understand the reason why the other party was so frightened. Being able to crack his spell with ease, and discovering from a distance that this red-haired person is absolutely extraordinary. The scale is almost full. As long as these two guys fight again, increase the output. When Majin Buu is born, they will all have to die. Babidi swept to Vegeta's side, his eyes twinkling. Add some more strength to Vegeta, this power is still a little bit worse. Closing his eyes, Babidi recited the spell again, but this time the target was no longer Yang Qing's group, but Vegeta. Sun Wukong, who was fighting with Vegeta, changed his face immediately. Ah! Vegeta suddenly hugged his head and screamed in pain. As he shouted, Sun Wukong saw the other side's body, and a kind of dark blue flame that was close to black was strangely burning, and Vegeta's forehead there is also an M-shaped logo. Boom! The incomparably powerful power erupted from Vegeta's body. This power far exceeded the stage of Super Tournament 2 and had reached the edge of Super Tournament 3. With solemn eyes, Sun Wukong stared at Vegeta. Vegeta, calm down, you're being controlled by Barbity. He shouted loudly. Ha ha ha, Kakarota, don't talk nonsense, fight me. Vegeta drank loudly, moving quickly towards Sun Wukong. Bang bang bang. A series of dull collision sounds came out, and the battle between the two quickly destroyed more than a dozen mountain ranges. Sun Wukong's face became more and more ugly. He was shocked to find that the energy of Vegeta was getting stronger and stronger. Kakarot, release all your power, otherwise, you will not be my opponent. Vegeta punched Sun Wukong to the ground and roared loudly. Calm down, if we fight like this again, Majin Buu will be born soon. Sun Wukong wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said calmly. What Majin Buu, I don't care, I just want to fight you. Vegeta waved his hand, his face grim, and the momentum on his body became even heavier. Seeing such a scene, Babidi showed an excited smile on his face. Okay, a little more, and you fight more fiercely. He glanced at the scale, and the smile on his face grew even wider. It's coming, Majin Buu is about to be born, haha. At this moment, the ceiling on this floor suddenly exploded with a bang. Dapra, Babidi and others immediately raised their heads with shock in their eyes. Babidi, your conspiracy is over. After a long drink, Son Gohan and the others appeared in front of Babidi. Babidi stepped back quickly, stood behind Dapora, and pushed Dapora to the front. What are you doing? He shouted loudly, with a look of horror on his face. Babidi is powerful in magic, but his body is extremely fragile. It is simply impossible to fight against the group of guys in front of him. Seeing that Sun Wukong and the others appeared in front of him so quickly, his eyes became frightened. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. Dapra, come on. After a sentence was finished, but the next moment, Babidi found that Dapra was shaking all over, and his eyes were fixed on the red-haired guy. It's him, it's really him. It's really him. Dapra's eyes were full of fear, and he almost shrank into a ball. Seeing Yang Qing up close, he even confirmed both sides of the other side. Sure enough, he is the terrifying guy in the demon world. Punch, he sealed the number 1 beast in the demon world. This guy's strength is unfathomable. Up to now, even the moment he saw the other party, all he had in his heart was fear. What a waste. Babidi's eyes trembled when he saw Dapra's scene, and he was also nervous. What are you going to do? Majin Buu is about to be born. If you take action against me, you will die miserably. How do I stop this? Son Gohan said curiously. You can try to see if a Qigong wave can blow it up. Yang Qing smiled playfully. Try it. Sun Wukong was eager to try, and a light blue light lit up in his palm. Never. Kai Wangshen stood directly in front of Sun Wukong with a look of horror, and he said hurriedly. This guy will absorb all the energy, and you will use Qigong waves to make him born ahead of time. There was a flash of surprise in Sun Wufan's eyes, and then he stopped. What a strange egg. That's right, Majin Buu is just an egg in his eyes at the moment. Aside, Babidi blinked in disappointment when he saw this scene. Chapter 889. Are you beaten to death? If this guy, Sun Gohan, blasted past with a Qigong wave, perhaps, the Devil Buu would be born. However, Babidi was not in a hurry, and his eyes flashed with excitement. Come on, it's getting closer and closer to full scale. Those two guys, they're amazing. The battle between Sun Wukong and Vegeta, the energy overflows, and is transmitted through the unique device of the spaceship, like the egg of the Devil Buu, so that he is about to wake up. That arrow, at this moment, is only a tiny bit away from the end point. When King Kai saw Babidi, he was about to step forward and destroy this evil guy. He knew that Babidi's fighting ability was not high, but the magic was terrible. Now, with Sun Wufan, Yangqing and other masters, he doesn't need to care about Dapra. As long as Babidi is dead, if Majin Buu wants to seal it again, he can try again. You can't shoot at me. Seeing Kaio approaching him, Babidi immediately shouted in horror. Why? The Realm King didn't stop and asked in a cold voice. Only I can control Majin Buu. If you kill me, once he is born, he will immediately destroy the entire universe. Kaiwang God, a controlled Majin Buu, compared with your uncontrolled Majin Buu, you should be very clear about the benefits. Babidi shuddered. In the face of these guys, Babidi was really panicked, and it was difficult to determine whether the other party would suddenly kill him here. The Realm King stopped in his footsteps, his face very ugly. The fact is really as Babidi said, when Majin Buu was out of control, 4 kings of the gods died, and Babidi, this guy, the magic is terrible, can control any evil guy. It does have a restraining effect on Majin Buu. At this time, Yangqing smiled and put his hand on Majin Buu's egg. What a strange creature. His divine eyes are extremely penetrating, and he can easily see through this folded and wrinkled giant egg. Then, Yangqing was surprised to find that there was actually a tangle of purple mist inside the dome. A brilliance flickered in his eyes. Yangqing carefully sensed the dome. The energy in it was not very strong, but it gave people a very strong toughness. It's kind of interesting. Yangqing became curious, and light blue brilliance flickered in his hand. What are you doing? At this time, Babidi shouted loudly, and his eyes were a little panic. As you can see, I'll see if I can really break this giant egg. The light blue radiance became more and more huge, and in just a short breath, an extremely huge amount of energy was gathered. No! The King of the Gods shouted all his life, his face anxious. Sun Wufan scratched his head, but there was no worried look on his face. Buzz! The void began to tremble, and the light blue beam was released by Yangqing with one hand. In an instant, the giant egg that was so close at hand burst into a dazzling light, and then, a huge mass of energy exploded. The explosion was extremely grand, and the people standing around, including Babidi, Dapra, Kaiwangshan, and Sun Gohan, immediately changed color and flew up quickly. Boom! A huge mushroom cloud was released from the ground, and the entire spaceship was directly shattered. The flames soaring into the sky erupted, and the ground nearby 10,000 meters was shaking. You. Babidi, who was carried into the air by Dapra, had an ugly face and was speechless for a while. He could not have imagined that someone would actually dare to directly blast out Qigong waves to fight the Demon Buu. Kaiwangshan also looked anxious, his eyes fixed on the center of the explosive flame. Gohan, what's the matter with your master? How dare he? He hurriedly drank and asked Gohan, his heart was numb. I don't know either, but master, he is very powerful, Lord Zhuangshan, you can rest assured. Sun Gohan said with a smile. The flames gradually dissipated, and the energy fluctuations scattered everywhere disappeared. The trembling void returned to calm. Gradually, everyone could see a figure in the flames below. This figure is Yang Qing. He is standing in the center of the energy explosion, but he is not hurt in the slightest. Everyone present just glanced at him, and immediately moved their eyes to the huge egg in front of him. But just at a glance, their faces changed. Babidi let out a sharp laughter. Ha ha ha, stupid guy, you really dare to take action on the devil Boo. See, no, the scale is full. There was nothing in Majin Buu's dome, but the scale representing the stored energy was actually full during the bombardment. This scene also made Babidi secretly surprised. To know how long it took them, Sun Wukong and Vegeta fought for so long, and this scale value just increased. However, this red-haired boy was only able to fill up with one attack. Although it is only a little scale, the energy it represents is extremely terrifying. The King of Realms' expression was extremely serious, and he was ready to attack at any time. Hee hee. Yang Qing smiled and stretched out one hand again. The giant egg in front of me is shaking violently, and it seems to be about to collapse. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. The energy light group is also boiling, changing rapidly. The light blue light flashed out again, and this time the energy burst out of his hands, but Babidi's face turned blue. Kai Wangshen was shocked, and Sun Wufan was very surprised. With such a huge amount of energy, are you going to blow up the earth? Babidi roared angrily. The terrifying energy fluctuations actually caused cracks in filaments to appear in the void. Qing, he is so powerful. The Qigong wave that erupted at will can fluctuate the surrounding void. The Realm King God knows very well that the opponent's strength has far exceeded his imagination. Lord Realm God, don't worry, as I said, Master is very powerful. Sun Gohan said with a smile. Look, he has gathered such a huge amount of energy now, maybe he can kill Majin Buu in one fell swoop. When the Realm King heard this sentence, his eyes moved. Yes, this kind of energy might really be able to blow up Majin Buu. Is Majin Buu scary? Of course, it was scary, but he had not yet been born, and the energy in Yang Qing's hands at this time was terrifying and trembling, and even the dimension could burst into cracks. At this moment, Yang Qing smiled and the energy in his hands burst out. Majin Buu, let me see how strong you are. Chapter 890 Birth. The dazzling light bloomed, and cracks began to appear in the void around Yang Qing. The cracks were small and healed quickly, but they appeared again. Compared to the previous energy explosion, this time his attack was extremely restrained and condensed. The entire energy group condensed together, and then kept buzzing in front of him, and the trembling giant egg exploded. Buzz. This time, there was no fire, nor much damage to the ground around it. What was smashed by force was the void. Small, dense cracks appeared quickly. Then he rushed towards the giant egg that trembled, fluctuated, and reacted violently. Boom. In the limited space, an energy shock that swept through the dimension began. Dome kept buzzing, and the sound of woo 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 came out, causing everyone present to sweat. After 3 full breaths, the giant egg was still, and there was no response. This. The King of the Realm widened his eyes and looked down. The dimensional cracks created in the space were rapidly healing. But that Majin Buu's dome didn't respond. Babidi clenched his fists even more, his face full of disbelief. What's the matter? Why didn't you respond? He glanced again at the scale representing the energy storage, which had long exceeded the limit it could hold. The pointer was soft and drooping aside, and it had collapsed. Did it work? Majin Buu was killed. At this time, the Realm King suddenly shouted, and an excited expression appeared on his face. With an ugly face, Babidi quietly took another step behind Dapra, ready to summon Vegeta. If Majin Buu really died, he would choose to escape without hesitation. However, Yang Qing, who was standing in front of the giant egg, revealed a trace of doubt. Under the gaze of his eyes, the purple energy group in the giant egg that fluctuated violently actually stopped under that attack. It's weird, but it's not like a dead silence, it is like the calm before the storm. Yang Qing's eyes narrowed and he took a step back. In the sky, everyone also noticed Yang Qing's abnormality, and they all mentioned God. Could it be that Majin Buu is not dead? Babidi was so excited that he even shouted down. Majin Buu, wake up and let the world witness your power. It was abrupt, as if responding to Babidi's shouting. Woo-hoo. Several small holes suddenly appeared in the sky above the dome, followed by filled holes all over its body. Like a pressure cooker, a lot of purple aerosol quickly surged out of this hole, and in an instant, it filled the entire sky. This purple fog covered the sky with a radius of 10,000 meters in the blink of an eye, like a layer of purple clouds. Crack! The Majin Buu dome was shattered, but there was not a terrifying figure of Majin in it as everyone thought, but nothing. What's going on? The crowd was amazed, puzzled, and completely clueless. Where's Majin Buu? Kaiwang God asked, and Babidi asked again. But no one knows where Majin Buu is. Could it be that he was really killed? Ha ha ha. The Realm King laughed again, and at this start, he was about to have a heart attack. Below, Yang Qing, who was standing on the ground, was looking up at the sky, the purple clouds that were changing drastically. He knew very well that these clouds were the real Majin Buu. Compared with the original work, the clouds and fog here are obviously denser and more numerous. In it, there is a faint evil, ominous feeling. It's coming out. Muttering, Yang Qing's eyes were even more curious. From these clouds, he could not feel any powerful energy aura, but could only faintly perceive the evil power opposite to the gods. At this time, everyone in the sky also began to notice the abnormality above their heads. There's something wrong with this purple cloud. What a depressing breath. Sun Wufan's face suddenly became solemn, and he also looked up into the air. Such an evil breath. It's Majin Buu. Babidi looked up at the purple cloud suddenly, and his heart trembled. The people present were all dignified. Facing an unknown guy, their minds were united and they carefully watched the changes in the sky. As time passed slowly, in the purple clouds in the sky, the ominous and evil aura became heavier and heavier. Everyone's hearts are heavy, as if they were pressed against a mountain. So depressing. Sun Gohan clenched his fists. This is a big deal. I didn't expect this to kill Demon Buu. The Realm King's face was ugly. Hey hey hey. In the purple cloud, a dark laughter suddenly came out, some sharp, some hoarse. It seemed that it had no effect for a long time. As soon as this laughter came out, the presence. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. People are all serious. Immediately afterwards, they saw all the purple clouds move quickly in the air, gather together, and then form around Fat Face. Very cute, and even a little funny. The sudden appearance of the face made everyone stunned. Could this be Majin Buu? Isn't the legendary Majin Buu supposed to be very ferocious and fierce? How could it be like this? It seems that there is no threat at all. Everyone was thinking that the purple clouds in the sky gathered together again, and then condensed together and began to solidify, forming a chubby dwarf. Majin Buu. This is Majin Buu. Look, it's a bit funny. The purple clouds in the sky disappeared, and the depressing breath disappeared. What appeared in front of everyone was a dumb, cute, and stupid purple fat man. Ah, is this Majin Buu? Babidi was stunned for a while, unable to believe that he had given everything and worked so hard to summon such a stupid guy. However, he didn't give up. He ordered Dapra to fly forward, and in a blink of an eye, Babidi came to Majin Buu. Magic Buu, I'm Babidi, I woke you up, you have to obey my orders. Huh? Why should I listen to you? Majin Buu's ears, above his head, let out a purple cloud with a beep, and asked sharply. His voice was not so eerie or threatening, but the strange thing was that it made Babidi tremble. Chapter 891 Buu. The amiable-looking fat man in front of him had an inexplicable aura on his body, which made his whole body tense. Majin Buu, I lifted your seal and rescued you. If you don't listen to me, I will seal you again. Babidi said fiercely. He was very afraid of others, but he was confident enough to control the other party when it came to Majin Buu. Seal me. Majin Buu rolled his eyes, as if remembering his past memories, his eyes narrowed. Then I will listen to you. Squinting his eyes, Majin Buu looked at the dwarf in front of him and agreed. When the Realm King God saw this scene, his expression suddenly became flustered. The big thing is bad, get ready to fight. With a loud shout, he flew towards Majin Buu. Majin Buu, the first task I give you is kill all the people in front of me. Babidi shouted when he saw Kaiwang Shen rushing towards him. Majin Buu rolled his eyes, then grinned and turned to look at Kaiwang Shen and the others. Suddenly, the figure of the Realm King rushed forward, and in front of them, a figure surging with a violent energy aura blocked there. Vegeta. Realm King's expression tightened. Having seen the opponent's shot, he naturally knew how powerful the guy in front of him was. And Babidi saw the person coming, and his face was even more happy. Haha, Vegeta, it's so nice of you to come, along with Majin Buu, destroy this group of guys for me. No creature with evil thoughts can escape the control of his Babidi. Vegeta is powerful, but he has to become his puppet. But the next moment, Babidi's happy expression paused and became ashen. Go away, little dwarf. Vegeta said coldly. Uncle Vegeta, where's my dad? Son Gohan asked. He'll be all right. After a while of silence, Vegeta said lightly. Then, he turned to face the chubby Majin Buu. Are you Majin Buu? It doesn't look like much. The disdainful words made Majin Buu's casual expression immediately turn cold. However, that fat figure really can't give people any deterrence. Do. The pores on Buu's body began to emit mist, and even the mist was purple. On the side, Yang Qing, who was always observing here, narrowed his eyes. His eyes narrowed, and the mist turned purple, and according to his guess, this purple mist was the manifestation of the energy of Majin Buu. Even the energy can show a gaseous state and be excreted from the body, which is enough to see how terrifying the energy accumulation of the demon Ubu at this moment is. I heard that this guy appeared because I fought Kakarot. The crowd shook their heads, but said nothing. They naturally knew that if these two guys hadn't been fighting with all their horsepower, Majin Buu might not have woken up so quickly. Yes, Vegeta, thank you for Buu's awakening. Babidi said with a smile. Vegeta's eyes turned cold, and she glanced at Babidi. I'll take care of you when I kill him, and now, get out of my way. Being scolded by Vegeta, Babidi's face was extremely ugly. With a cold look in his eyes, Babidi began to chant a spell. His spell was silent, invisible, and silent. Vegeta's expression suddenly changed, showing a hint of pain, but after a breath, he turned sharply to look at Babidi. Your spell doesn't work for me, get out of here. With a loud shout, Babidi was shocked by Vegeta's cold aura, and even took a few steps back, his face full of horror. How is this possible? This guy. Even Dapra, the king of the demon world, can easily control him, but Vegeta is actually useless. Immediately following, Babidi became angry. Boo, this guy, kill me too. With Boo around, Vegeta doesn't obey, so kill him. Although Babidi felt a pity in his heart to lose a general, it was nothing. Humpty Dumpty, I'll kill you. Vegeta pointed at Majin Buu coldly and arrogantly. Oh. Buu rolled his eyes and grinned. Just as Buu was laughing, Vegeta burst out, and terrifying energy fluctuations burst out from his body, and then his speed became very fast, and in just a flash, he was already in front of Buu. Immediately swept away. Bang! The chunky Buu didn't seem to have time to react at all. His belly was kicked down immediately, his mouth opened exaggeratedly, and a cloud of purple mist spewed out, and his entire body shot out like a cannonball. Boom! He hit the ground with his head and shook the ground into a big crater, and a crack in the ground appeared. But this is not over yet. Vegeta's attack at this moment is unimaginable. Defeating Vegeta and borrowing Babbidi's evil power, he has already exceeded his original limit, and his power is extremely terrifying. In just a flash, he was already above Boo, and then his hands connected. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. Verb. Move. Hush shish. A series of qigong waves slammed towards the bottom, but in an instant, I don't know how many qigong waves hit Boo's body. Everyone could see that Boo's squat body, hit by this qigong wave, immediately began to dent and shatter. The Realm King was excited. He was very excited. It's amazing. Vegeta, it's amazing. Just at the beginning, Vegeta crushed the opponent with all his strength. In the face of Vegeta's violent attack, Boo seemed unable to resist at all, and could only passively endure it. With a blink of an eye, Vegeta came to Boo again. Bang 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 bang. His fists and feet rained down on Boo's body, shaking the opponent's body and his expression constantly changing. For more than 10 seconds, Vegeta was frantically attacking Boo, who seemed to be unable to resist at all. Anxiety appeared on Babbidi's face. He didn't expect that after the battle between the two, Boo was actually suppressed by Vegeta. How is this possible? But at this moment, Dapra, who had been shrinking at Yongqing, spoke in a low voice. Sir Babbidi, you don't have to panic. Boo's breath has not been panic at all until now. It's Vegeta, his breathing has begun to be rapid and rapid. Babbidi was startled, then said happily. Really? Yeah, Dapra nodded affirmatively. As the king of the demon world, he still has some eyesight. At this time, Kai Wangshen, Sun Wufan's face became tense. Chapter 892 Fiasco. The situation on the field looked like a one-sided crush. But those who are discerning can see that after Vegeta's violent attack, the energy in his body has dropped a lot, and his chi has begun to become chaotic. Bang! With the last punch, Majin Buu's face was sunk hard, and Vegeta's attack finally stopped, and he began to take a deep breath. Sweat dripped from his forehead and his face turned pale. Boom! Majin Buu slammed into the ground heavily, and the dust rose, but the next moment, he flew up again. Vegeta's heavy punch dented his face, but soon, his face swelled up again, like a balloon, was pushed down, and swelled up again. Looking at it, Majin Buu didn't take any damage. Do. A purple mist sprayed out from the vents on Majin Buu's body, and his expression looked more sinister at this moment. Anger was clearly expressed from Majin Buu's expression and momentum. The legendary powerhouse in the universe, who killed the 4 realm gods and almost destroyed the entire universe, was furious at this moment. Immediately the next moment, the purple mist spewed down, and in an instant he was like a long arrow shot out, whoosh, in front of Vegeta. Then, he threw a punch. Bang! This punch, simply and neatly, hit Vegeta's face heavily. Everyone could hear the faint, click, sound. Vegeta's face, at this moment, began to deform rapidly, his eyes bulged, and a mouthful of blood suddenly spurted out. The whole body, like a cannonball, slammed out fiercely and hit the ground. Bang! Vegeta's body seemed to be twisted, slammed hard, and then suddenly ejected again, throwing it farther. In this way, after a few bounces, Vegeta fell to the ground in a cloud of dust. The blow from Majin Buu was more terrifying than he imagined. That punch directly knocked out his consciousness, and his cheekbones seemed to be shattered. After a full 5 seconds, Vegeta's body moved, and then slowly got up. His body was shaky, as if he would fall down again at any moment, but after 3 seconds, he still stood up. There were scars everywhere on the broken body, and the cheeks were slightly distorted, but Vegeta stood there steadily, as if telling the world about his pride, the pride and pride of Saiyans. Boo! Majin Buu uttered strange syllables in anger, and the air vents all over his body sent out purple mist again. Seeing that one move did not solve Vegeta, he seemed to be angry. His body moved, and it was terrifyingly fast, but in an instant, he came to the top of Vegeta's head again. Hands together, and then slammed down. Bang! A cannon hammer directly hit the back of Vegeta's head, and the latter immediately landed on the ground face first, slamming the ground hard, smashing the ground into pieces. This time, it just looks dizzying. Uncle Vegeta! Sun Wukong even shouted, his face changed. Kai Wangshan's whole body shuddered, and the sight of Majin Buu killing Vegeta in one strike made him terrified. In Kai Wang God's heart, Vegeta's power is very powerful, and it can be said that it steadily surpasses him. But it is such a guy, after hitting Majin Buu so many times, he couldn't even withstand the opponent's blow. Fighting ability and strength are simply not in the same realm. The gap between these two people is too great. And according to this judgment, Son Gohan next to him, and Ao not far away, how much chance did they have against Demon Buu? After falling down this time, Vegeta didn't get up again, and the bright red blood seeped from the ground, making people's eyes change instantly, and it was not clear whether Vegeta was alive or dead at the moment. Hey hey hey! Looking at Vegeta lying in front of him, Majin Buu's expression was gloomy, and he let out a sharp laugh, indicating that he was in a good mood. Uncle Vegeta! Son Gohan was in a hurry, and immediately flew towards Vegeta. In a blink of an eye, he was already in front of Majin Buu, and then pulled Vegeta out of the ground. After looking at the other party carefully for a while, Sun Wukong breathed a sigh of relief. The injury was very serious, and the bones of the whole body were almost shattered by the punch, but he still didn't die. It has to be said that the vitality of Saiyans is tenacity. Boy, who are you? At this time, Majin Buu spoke in dissatisfaction. Someone dared to act so recklessly in front of him, completely ignoring him. Slowly putting down Vegeta, Son Gohan stood up, his face instantly became extremely serious, and his eyes became even colder. In the blink of an eye, a completely different Son Gohan appeared. His eyes were extremely serious, and his whole body revealed the solemn, powerful, and solid momentum that only a martial Taoist has. Gohan, come back, you are not his opponent. The Kai Wangshan shouted from behind worriedly. The previous battles were basically solved by Son Gohan. In the heart of Kai Wang God, Son Gohan also dealt with the devil cloth. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. O is the strongest main force. Vegeta has failed, and if Gohan fails again, then there is little hope. As for Yang Cheng, although in his heart, it is very mysterious, but his judgment of his strength is a little more than his own. Moreover, the most important thing is that Son Gohan is young enough, so young, he has such strength. Even if he is not the opponent of Majin Buu at present, then he will practice for a few more years, and there will be great hope. But Son Gohan didn't respond to his cry. At this moment, Sun Wukong's attention was all focused on the purple fat man in front of him. I can't feel the powerful chi at all, but strangely, when standing in front of the other party, there will be incomparable depression and enormous pressure. Son Gohan finally understood why Vegeta's previous state was so abnormal. It is this kind of strange pressure, as if facing an opponent that no matter how hard you try, you can't defeat it, as if there is no hope of defeating it at all. This is a kind of terrifying psychological pressure, and this kind of pressure is also very familiar to Sun Wukong. Master Ching. When his master released some strength, Son Gohan would also feel this way. This point, he has experienced in countless battles. Chapter 893 Interesting Things. This is a kind of coercion caused by the fact that the strength completely crushes the opponent, and when the gap is too large, because the upper limit of the opponent's strength cannot be felt, and because the strength of the enemy is too strong. Feeling this momentum from Majin Buu's body, Son Gohan also instantly understood that the other party was far more terrifying than it looked. Scary guy. Glancing at Vegeta next to him, as long as he saw the unconscious person at his feet, Sun Wukong knew in his heart how powerful the opponent was. My name is Son Gohan. Next, let me be your opponent. With serious eyes and serious words, Son Gohan slowly assumed a fighting stance. Are you going to fight me? Majin Buu's eyes narrowed together, and he looked rather cute. Boo, kill the kid in front of you. Just then, Babiti's voice came. Gohan, come back, don't be impulsive. Kai Shen shouted nervously, and as soon as he moved, he was going to stop Son Gohan from fighting Buu. But at this moment, Yangqing moved and stood beside him. Don't stop him, Realm King, just watch it quietly. But he won't be Buu's opponent, Gohan will be killed. The Realm King said excitedly. My apprentice, I know it myself, just watch it quietly. Faced with the shouting of Zhuangxin, Yangqing just said lightly. With Yangqing's appearance, the Realm King didn't know what to say, so he could only squeeze his fists and look nervously at the field. Majin Buu stared at the black-haired boy in front of him. He looked very young, and his aura was not that tyrannical, which was much worse than the powerful appearance of Vegeta just now. Then, he smiled sarcastically. You will be killed by me. A sharp voice came out quickly. Sun Wukong narrowed his eyes, and the next moment, he suddenly shot. Bang! This punch was quicker than Majin Buu expected. The close distance made it difficult for him to dodge, but with just one blow, he was smashed and flew out. The King of the Realm widened his eyes from the side, with a look of disbelief flashing in his eyes. Gohan hasn't used his full strength all this time, though. Saying that, a mysterious smile appeared on the corner of Yangqing's mouth. I think, facing Majin Buu this time, he may have to do his best. Isn't that Super Saiyan from before still his full strength? The King God was shocked. Super Saiyan is in stages, look at it. Yangqing shook his head. The Realm King didn't know what to say, so he could only listen to Yangqing's words and stared straight into the field. Majin Buu, who was punched with one punch, only retreated a few dozen meters this time, before forcing himself to stop. Then, purple mist sprayed out from his body, and his face became angry. As soon as his figure moved, Majin Buu was about to rush forward to fight, but was stopped by Son Gohan shaking his head. Buu, let me show you something interesting. Well, the moving body stopped abruptly, and I had to admit that Buu was still curious about the baby. Hearing Son Gohan's words, he immediately stopped attacking. What fun stuff. His voice was sharp, and it sounded a little gloomy. Don't do it yet, I'll show it to you, and after reading it, we'll fight again. Son Gohan took a few steps forward, closing the distance with Buu. Gohan, what are you doing? The King of the Realm said suspiciously. Yangqing's eyes narrowed, but he didn't speak. First of all, with my current strength, I can't be your opponent at all. So, I need to transform. Under the gazes of everyone, Sun Wukong gradually opened his mouth. Transformation? Majin Buu asked curiously. Look, Buu, this transformation can increase my strength and allow me to reach the ability to fight you. Sun Wukong clenched his fists and said loudly. In the next second, a golden flame burst into flames, surrounding Sun Wuhan's body, and a powerful wave of energy spread in all directions, hitting the ground directly into a big pit. His black hair turned blonde, and his pupils turned green. Suddenly, it seemed that he had changed into another person, which made Buu blink his eyes, feeling very interesting. He's going to be a Super Saiyan. Seeing this scene, the Realm God said in surprise. In a blink of an eye, he frowned again. Not even a Super Saiyan, Vegeta's Super Saiyan, so powerful, but still not Buu's opponent. Gohan, will there be a way? Yangqing's expression was indifferent, just watching silently. Of course, such power is still not your opponent, so I still need to go a step further. At this time, Son Gohan said again. He suddenly squeezed his fist again, and the energy in his body became even more violent. The fine golden lightning flashed non-stop, and a terrifying aura swept out. This momentum surpassed the limit of the power that Vegeta had just released in just a blink of an eye, and was still climbing higher. Gust of wind. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. Moving, Majin Buu's cheeks were stinged by the wind, and the scarf in front of his neck shook. Feeling this amazing momentum, Buu seemed a little stunned, as if he didn't expect it. Buu, how is this power? Son Gohan asked. Boo was startled, then shook his head, without speaking, but the contempt in his eyes was clearly visible to Son Gohan. It turns out that you are really scary. No wonder the Lord of the Kings is so afraid of you. This sentence made the old god of the realm, who heard it not far away, blushed. But then, the king of the realm clenched his fists and got excited. I didn't expect Gohan's power to be stronger than Vegeta. No, you are wrong. At this time, Gohan's power is only similar to Vegeta, or even slightly inferior. When Yangqing heard the words of the Realm King, he immediately became the Tao. How could it be? The Realm King didn't believe it. From the feeling, Son Gohan's gas is obviously much stronger than Vegeta just now. Vegeta fought with Sun Wukong before. He was already too exhausted and injured. Naturally, he is not as good as Gohan, who is in a perfect state at the moment. Only then did Kai Wangshen understand, and he looked at Vegeta's expression with regret again. If Vegeta was there just now, then maybe it would be more certain to deal with Majin Buu. At this time, Sun Wufan's expression also became solemn. Then, I will use all my strength to fight you. Suddenly, the next moment, Sun Wufan closed his eyes, and his face became hideous. In the sky, dark clouds suddenly began to cover, and there was a strong wind blowing in the air, blowing the whole world. Chapter 894 The Shock of the Realm King. The dense lightning began to swim on Son Gohan's body, and he was wearing a black martial arts uniform, hunting and shaking. His eyes became sharp, his golden hair began to change, and after a breath, it turned black, and the color of his pupils also changed rapidly. 3 seconds later, he changed into his original appearance, a black martial arts uniform with black hair and black eyes. It's just that at this moment, his eyes are shining and extremely fierce, and the momentum around him is also surging, and the violent golden lightning is endlessly surrounding, as if it can tear apart the void. The powerful aura on his body made the Realm King God widen his eyes and open his mouth, unable to close his eyes for a long time. Good, so strong. The energy fluctuations that are as vast as the sea, and the unstable and terrifying aura that even the space fluctuates, suddenly makes the heart of the King God tremble. He never imagined that Sun Wufan could reach such a state. At this moment, the strength of the opponent has far exceeded his imagination. The strong wind and the terrifying energy fluctuations made even Majin Buu seem a little stunned at this moment. He blinked, looked at Son Gohan, and shook his head again. Sun Wufan was stunned, and then said solemnly, "Isn't this kind of power enough?" Not enough, still weak, Buu said in a high-pitched voice, but it was serious in the ears of others. I don't believe it. Gohan's power is already so terrifying, it's impossible not to be the logarithm of Kaiwang God. He must have a chance against Majin Buu. The King God said excitedly. In this state of transformation, the half of the sky above Sun Wufan's head has almost turned dark, completely shrouded in dark clouds, and golden lightning flashes constantly in the void, illuminating the sky. Yangqing's eyes became firm, thinking of the state of the demon Buu before his last blow. He was not sure in his heart. Only he himself knew the huge energy of that blow, and it was absolutely enough to wipe out the entire earth in one breath. However, when it penetrated to the dome, it was strangely absorbed. This also means that Majin Buu's energy has already surpassed the original, and he has become stronger. Maybe in the original work, Super Saiyan 3 can still fight him, but now, it's really not necessarily. Is it still weak? Then I have no choice but to try my best. Sun Wufan shook his head, a little helpless. As for the demon Buu, he didn't doubt that he could still be alive under Yangqing's attack, and the guy who didn't disappear would naturally know in his heart that the other party was terrible, even though his master only shot less than 3%. The power of 4. With sharp eyes, Sun Wufan's whole body was full of energy, and in the moment when everyone's eyes flashed, he was already in front of Majin Buu. Bang! With an uppercut, Majin Buu's squat body flew straight up. After a short while, Son Gohan reached the top of Demon Buu's head again and slashed with one foot. Bang! This kick directly smashed the head of Majin Buu into the neck. If it was an ordinary person, it would be directly kicked to death by Son Gohan with just one kick. The mighty terrifying energy, potential energy, and kinetic energy in it can destroy all matter in an instant. But after 3 breaths, Majin Buu jumped out, his neck bulged, and it returned to its original state. You got me a little intrigued. Buu's shrill voice came out, and the sound of beep beep sounded at the same time, and his short and fat figure began to speed up. At first, ordinary people could still see it clearly, but after a short while, Buu's figure had disappeared from the eyes of Kaioshin. So fast. A figure that even he can't see clearly, so how strong is Buu? And what will happen when he faces Buu? This is not a question at all. Bang! In front of Sun Wufan's void, a fist appeared, his expression changed, and he raised his fist to block it. At the moment when the two were deadlocked, strips of golden lightning struck out, surrounding his body. It was only then that Buu's figure seemed to be pulled and gradually appeared in the eyes of everyone. Crack! The lightning struck, and the void seemed to be distorted by the powerful energy on the two bodies. Bang! Suddenly, the two of them slammed back together and collided again. The sound was as dull as thunder, and the fluctuation of the impact caused a gust of wind, causing a sandstorm to sweep across the desert thousands of miles away. Son Gohan's face was solemn. At the beginning of the battle, he felt the terrifying power of Majin Buu. Such power reveals that it is evil, strange, violent, and an extremely explosive output. At the moment of the attack, there was no sound and no fireworks, but when it collided, a terrifying energy erupted, which could blow up everything. Boom 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 boom. A series of collisions, one after another. The attacks of the two are not very dense, but each time they collide, the fluctuations caused are enough to overturn several buildings. Standing on the ground, everyone looked at the battle of purple and gold in the sky, and their eyes were full of shock. So strong. A mouth, there is only such a word. Apart from these adjectives, they could no longer find words to praise. The Kaiwang god was even more shocked and inexplicable. He did not expect that Majin Buu would have such power, and he did not expect that there are. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. Humans can really fight Majin Buu just by relying on the strength of one person. Gohan, that's amazing. Jabit sighed. The king god nodded excitedly. According to this situation, even if Gohan is not Majin Buu's opponent now, it is only a matter of time if he wants to defeat Majin Buu as long as the opponent is alive and continues to cultivate. Great, we finally have hope. The Realm King clenched his fists. Recalling the past, it took 4 real gods to get on board to seal the Demon Buu, but at this time, he found a way to defeat or kill the Demon Buu. Babidi was terrified. The strength of any person in the sky was enough to kill tens of millions of Dapras in seconds. Before seeing this terrifying power, he thought that Dapra was already very strong. But only then did he know that there were such terrifying powerhouses in this universe. Fortunately I have Majin Buu. Letting out a breath, Babidi's face was still in shock. It is unimaginable, if there is no Majin Buu, how can he avoid the attack of this group of terrifying guys in front of him? Once you encounter it, you will surely die. Chapter 895 _ For a time, the battle between Son Gohan and Majin Buu turned out to be evenly matched. This scene made the Kaiwang god excited, and made Babidi fearful, but fortunate. Boom 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 boom. The two figures in the sky, like gods, collided fiercely. Each time they were separated by tens of meters and then slammed together again. A series of circular ripples rolled out, alarming the void. At this moment, their attack made the air feel like a lake. Do. After a long battle, Majin Buu seemed to be angry, and the purple high-temperature steam smoke gushed out again from his exhaust hole. Ah, you're so annoying. The words were a little childish, but Sun Wufan's eyes tightened. The next moment, the moment his pupils shrank, Majin Buu was already in front of him, and he threw a punch. Bang! This punch directly hit Sun Gohan on the cheek, and his whole body was shaken, and the whole body was hit by the force of this punch, and it actually slanted towards the left. Gohan. The king god was startled and cried out in worry. Ha ha ha, Boo really is the strongest. Babidi laughed. However, in the next second, Sun Wukong just crooked out less than an inch away, and his right leg was swept out fiercely. Bang! Majin Buu's neck was directly swept by Sun Gohan's calf, and his face was instantly shriveled when he hit it. That noodle-like neck was pulled straight out to the left. The enormous power seemed to separate Majin Buu's head from his body in an instant. Clearly, at this moment, Majin Buu's expression was full of shock and disbelief. Boom! Buu was swept directly to the ground by one leg, and rolled nearly a kilometer from the ground before he stopped. Ah! The purple mist erupted even more, and Buu rolled over and stood up. His expression looked a little embarrassed, his fists clenched tightly, staring at Sun Gohan. It can be seen that Sun Gohan at this moment is a little threatening to Buu. I'm going to kill you, you boy. The childish voice came out again, and the momentum on Buu's body suddenly swelled, the ground around him began to crack, and a large tract of land began to turn around and move towards the sky. In an instant, the sky was full of dust. Buu shouted, and the exhaust hole on his body was exhausted again. The whole person stepped on the ground in an instant, and sprang directly from the clods in front of him. The figure was almost less than 1/1000th of a second, and then it was in front of Sun Gohan. Ha! The punch went straight up from the bottom, and the speed was like a thunderbolt. The shock flashed in Sun Wukong's eyes, and in the next instant, he was hit in the chin by this punch, and the whole person rushed into the air. But his will was terrifyingly strong, and he just flew out less than a meter, so he gritted his teeth and endured the pain, grabbed his hands down, and actually grabbed the tentacles and horns on the top of Buu's head. Then, Sun Gohan roared loudly. With both hands, he grabbed Buu's tentacles directly, and swung it vigorously. Whoosh whoosh. The sound of the wind blew past Buu's ears, and when he realized that he had fallen into the hands of the other party, Buu's heart was even more angry. Okay, well done, Gohan, that's amazing. Kai Wang Shen was simply too excited, and Sun Gohan's strength exceeded his expectations by too much. Ah! Roaring loudly, Sun Gohan loosened his hand after swaying Buu more than 300 times and threw Buu out fiercely. The gust of wind whistled in Buu's ears, and his eyes were spinning in a series of non-stop circles at the moment. For a while, Buu was actually dazed by the whole circle of Sun Gohan. Die, Buu! The light blue light soaring to the sky was suddenly released, and a little blue light in Sun Wukong's hand expanded, and soon it became an energy air mass about 1 meter in diameter. Turtle School Qigong Wave. With another expansion, the Qigong wave suddenly became bigger again, followed by a push by Sun Gohan, and the huge spherical energy wave rushed towards Buu. The pupils shrank suddenly, and Bona's body that was pushed out suddenly stagnated. Boom! The dazzling light instantly drowned his sight, and in less than a second, the huge energy wave directly hit Buu's body, covering him entirely. Immediately after, the high temperature and explosive shock energy continuously burned Buu's body, causing him to scream in pain. Ah! Sun Gohan was close at hand, and when he saw that Buu could be injured by his own energy wave, he immediately let out a loud roar. The energy gathered in his hands is also more violent, and the steady stream of energy is madly outputting towards the front. Zhuangshan and others looked at the field, and could even see the fine space cracks that were hit by the violent energy. Such an energy level can already break the dimension. One after another terrifying energy ripped apart the space, forming a harsh whistling sound, which was introduced into the ears of everyone present, making them inexplicably excited. Huh! In the end, this soaring energy drew an arc, directly wiping out a mountain on the ground, and moving towards the universe. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. The sky away. Majin Buu made a sharp cry, and under the bath of this energy beam, his body seemed to be separated, torn, and burned. After 10 seconds of effort, the dazzling light blue light slowly faded away. Woohoo! Son Gohan bent over and began to gasp and breathe violently. This Qigong wave attack consumed too much energy and physical strength in his body, and even made his forehead covered with sweat. The battle with Majin Buu was so stressful that he had never imagined it before. Each of his attacks was enough to knock over a mountain, and it was difficult for ordinary people, even Uncle Vegeta, to bear it. But the other party, being hit so many times by him, he didn't even sense the decline in the other party's breath. Such a powerful force was completely unexpected to him. After this blow, Kai Wangshan and the others looked up at the sky. After 5 seconds, they still did not see the figure of Majin Buu. Could it be that Majin Buu is dead? Did he just get wiped out by Gohan's shockwave? Looking at each other in disbelief, Kaiwang God's mood is no longer exciting enough to describe. Jabbit even trembled all over, and his eyes gleamed with excitement. Amazing. Gohan is really amazing. Chapter 896 The Last Rage. Woohoo. Suddenly, at this moment, a strange sound came to mind in the sky, and purple clouds appeared again, covering a kilometer range in the blink of an eye. Moreover, these purple clouds are rapidly combining, creeping and moving every second, and strange and mysterious changes are produced inside. This phenomenon made the Kaiwang God's originally happy mood suddenly fall to the bottom of the valley. He's not dead yet. Trembling and trembling, the Realm King couldn't believe that he was directly hit by such a powerful blow, and he still hadn't died. Of course he didn't die. At the moment of birth, he completely merged the power I released in that moment. Therefore, the current Demon Buu is stronger than the strength he had when he was born. Yang Qing said lightly. What? The Realm King said loudly. Ha ha ha, that's great, Buu, it's really amazing, it's really worthy of being Buu. Kai Wangshan, when Buu kills that kid, I'll let him send you all to hell. Babidi secretly touched the sweat on his forehead and laughed loudly. He can be said to be very cool at the moment. He didn't expect Buu to have such a powerful power, which was beyond his expectations. Majin Buu is much stronger than the sloppy Dapra around him. Woohoo! The purple aerosol erupted a few times, and soon began to squirm and move quickly. After only 5 or 6 breaths, the original chubby figure of Majin Buu appeared in their eyes. Buu is resurrected. Jabbit said in shock. No one would have imagined that after suffering such a huge attack, he would be able to be resurrected. Moreover, seeing that Buu was rapidly absorbing the purple mist that filled the sky, his breath was even stronger, even more frightening than before. This guy is too strong. Everyone was shocked, watching the purple mist in the sky gradually disappear, and Buu appeared, trembling in his heart. Beep beep. The unique exhaust sound sounded again, and Buu finally appeared completely in the eyes of everyone. He was standing high in the sky, looking down at Sun Wukong. His round eyes narrowed into slits at this moment, and his eyes flashed with monstrous anger. His body was completely destroyed, and the flames in his heart were already burning. The sharp eyes gave people an invisible pressure, and Sun Wukong's pupils suddenly tightened. He could feel that the Demon Buu at this moment was even more terrifying than before. In the next instant, Sun Gohan's expression suddenly changed color. The Majin Buu, who had been staring at him closely, disappeared. He was shocked, and his eyes searched everywhere. But in an instant, he didn't even see anyone clearly, and he was punched hard on the cheek. Immediately after, Sun Wukong's mind fell into a blank space. 2 fists appeared alternately in front of his eyes, reincarnation boxing. Bang 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 bang. With a series of dull voices, the quaking void was about to shatter, and Sun Gohan was completely caught up in the continuous attacks of Demon Buu. Gradually, under this intensive boxing, blood began to flow from the corner of Sun Wukong's mouth, and his consciousness became blurred. Woo! Taking a breath, Majin Buu's squinted eyes became round again, and his expression seemed to be a lot more comfortable. A violent blow to Sun Wukong made him feel at ease, and seemed to express his previous grievances. Puff! Being hit so violently, Sun Wufan's nose was blue and his face was swollen, and his body suddenly fell limply to the ground. Gohan. Kai Wangshan's expression changed greatly, and Jabik became nervous. Prepare at any time, save Gohan, Gohan must not be in trouble. Yeah. The two had a quick conversation and made a decision. Gohan must be rescued, even if they have any risks and sacrifices in the middle, it is worth it. As long as Gohan is there, the universe will be saved. Majin Buu stretched and looked at Gohan on the ground. Before he got up, he seemed to be bored, so he turned his eyes to Kaiwangshan and the others. This look immediately made them change color. Only Yang Qing, his eyes are still indifferent, but there is something strange in the depths of his eyes. Watching Buu fight for so long, the opponent's fighting style surprised him. Buu can be said to be a natural warrior. The opponent's style is not random, but has a very obvious feature, that is, everything is going for victory. He can use every advantage of his body perfectly, and can reasonably exert his greatest talent. Buu couldn't even evade an attack that did no harm to him at all, he just endured it abruptly. And once he gets angry, his power will explode instantly, directly knocking the opponent down. Son Gohan was beaten by Buu's weird style. He was out of physical strength in the early stages of the fight, and at the back, it was difficult to withstand Buu's blow. Suddenly, Buu's eyes changed, he withdrew his gaze from Kaiwangshan and the others, and turned to Son Gohan again. Not dead yet. His sharp voice came out, making the eyes of the Realm King tremble. Then, they saw Sun Wufan, who was lying on the ground, slowly get up. His cheeks and body were injured in many places, and he was breathing heavily. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. It is also very heavy, but his eyes are sharper. Angry, angry, angry. In the heart, a grand voice continued to sound, and Sun Wuhan's external momentum gradually began to expand again. This breath suddenly swelled up, suddenly burst into air, and immediately made Buu fly up, and a look of surprise flashed in Sun Gohan's eyes. He did not expect that the other party would have such a powerful force. But in the blink of an eye, Buu smiled again. That's good, if you thought you were down, the game would be too boring. Ah! Sun Wufan's black hair rose directly into the sky due to the impact of the powerful airflow, and the powerful energy fluctuations on his body scattered and shook the sky. At this moment, Sun Wuhan's powerful aura made Kaiwangshan and others excited again. Gohan can actually become stronger. Yang Qing's eyes were calm, watching the exploding Sun Wufan, but he knew in his heart that in this state, Sun Wufan was afraid that it was going to be bad. With the help of anger to drive the power, it is only powerful for a while, but it will become weaker afterward. Coupled with the state of Super Race 3, the energy consumed and physical strength are very huge. In this state, Sun Gohan won't last long. Chapter 897 2 verses 1. With a low roar, Sun Wufan's aura surpassed that before. Although he was injured at the moment, the terrifying aura on his body was unparalleled and terrifying. Majin Buu looked at Sun Gohan's changes. His eyes were a little surprised, but then it turned into a mockery. Whoosh! The sound of skimming sounded, and Sun Wufan's figure suddenly disappeared. Buu also exhausted the exhaust holes all over his body, and his figure disappeared. The speed of the two at this moment has completely surpassed the visual limit of the people present. It was just a flickering effort, and a huge ripple appeared in the high-altitude air. Boom! The shock wave swayed, and the wind was blowing. The figures of the two appeared at the same time, but after an instant, they disappeared. Collision again and again, constantly ringing in the air. Centered on the two of them, shock waves spread out in all directions. The turbulent shock wave scattered and drifted, scraping layers of dust on the ground. Kaiwangshan and the others looked at the sky in horror, and put their arms in front of them to block the constantly blowing wind and dust. The collision between the two was extremely violent, and the turbulent airflow became more and more fierce. Standing on the ground, Yang Qing's eyes narrowed. His vision was not affected in any way, and the battle between the two people above the sky was clearly transmitted to his mind. Gohan, it's not good. In such a violent state, the energy consumed every second is huge. Add the gas consumed in the previous battle, as well as the injuries suffered. By now, Sun Wuhan's anger has been reduced to the minimum. Sweat dripped from his forehead, and Sun Wufan's eyes became more and more solemn. With each collision, he began to back away slightly. Boy, you've reached your limit. An evil smile appeared on Boo's plump face. But I haven't used my full strength yet. Suddenly, Boo threw a punch. The speed and strength of this punch were actually twice as powerful as before. What? Sun Wufan's pupils shrank and his heart trembled violently. Bang! The punch hit Gohan hard on the cheek, causing him to fall to the ground in an instant, kicking up dust. Sure enough. Seeing this scene, Yang Qing's eyes were not surprised. Majin Buu's strength is almost inexhaustible, and his body is also immortal. If you can't directly destroy the opponent with extremely explosive means, you can't defeat it at all. Gohan. A voice came from afar, followed by the golden figure to Son Gohan. Dad. Sun Wufan opened his eyes and said weakly, the powerful aura he had just now disappeared from his body. There are wounds all over the body, and the breath is even more vague. Being hit by Majin Buu's punch, all the aura he had left behind was dissipated. Don't talk. Sun Wukong suddenly remembered something, took out a bag from his pocket, and put a bean into Sun Wufan's mouth. Yang Qing smiled, the person who came was Sun Wukong. I saw the latter, and after feeding the fairy beans to Sun Gohan, he turned to Vegeta. Vegeta, even you. His eyes changed and he looked at Vegeta lying on the ground in a coma. For the first time, Sun Wukong felt that Majin Buu might be more difficult to deal with than he thought. Prying open Vegeta's mouth, Sun Wukong fed the latter a fairy bean again. Such a serious injury, if not treated, will die. After helping Vegeta to crush the fairy bean and swallow it, Sun Wukong just stood up and looked solemnly at Majin Buu who was standing not far ahead. Dad, he's Majin Buu. Sun Wufan stood up at this time, his injuries had almost recovered, and his eyes were solemn. Well, I can feel that this guy is very powerful. Sun Wukong nodded. Vegeta groaned and groaned, also waking up. After seeing Sun Wukong, his expression changed slightly, followed by a cold snort. Kakarot, you are here. Well, Vegeta, this guy is very powerful, maybe this time, the two of us have to join forces. Sun Wukong said solemnly. Who wants to join forces with you? Hearing this sentence, Vegeta immediately turned pale. I'm afraid it's up to you this time. Sun Wukong said solemnly. Gohan, ow, didn't he shoot? Then, he turned to ask Gohan again. No, the master is just watching quietly, but I see his expression is also very serious. Sun Wufan said. I get it, this guy is tougher than we thought. Sun Wukong nodded, with a strong fighting intent in his eyes. Looks like you have to fight with all your strength. Glancing at Vegeta again, the latter snorted coldly and had no intention of cooperating with him. With helplessness flashing in his eyes, Sun Wukong said to Gohan. Gohan, can you still fight? No problem, Dad. Okay, this time our father and son will cooperate once. Sun Wukong's eyes are solemn, facing the devil Buu, seeing the appearance of Sun Wuhan just now, he naturally knows in his heart that even if it is. This chapter is not over, click on the next page to continue reading. With all your strength, you will not be the opponent's opponent. His son's fighting power is almost the same as his. He is already like that. If he goes up alone, I am afraid it will not be much better. Yeah. Sun Wufan nodded heavily, and after a low drink, the aura of his whole body erupted again, restoring the terrifying aura of Super Tournament 3. Seeing the breath bursting from Sun Wufan's body, Sun Wukong clenched his hands tightly, and the fine golden lightnings all over his body began to swim. A lot of indifference. Vegeta looked at the state of Sun Wukong at the moment, and his eyes were shocked. Kakarot, Didn't you use all your strength in the battle just now? His heart was very complicated. He thought that he had already defeated the opponent, but suddenly he realized that the battle with him just now was not the real strength of the opponent. When his heart was violently active, Sun Wuhan and Sun Wukong had joined hands to launch an attack on Demon Bu. The two looked dignified, and when they shot, they went all out, one left and one right, rushing towards Majin Bu. When Majin Bu saw such a posture, his eyes tightened, and a purple mist was expelled from his body. Come on. With a low voice, Majin Bu didn't have any fear in his eyes, instead he looked very interested. In the blink of an eye, the two sides collided fiercely. Fuck, beat. Sun Wukong was drinking loudly, and attacked the Demon Bu on the road. Sun Wufan attacked the bottom road, and the two cooperated to attack, and it was impenetrable, like a torrential rain. For a time, the attack launched by the two directly pressed Majin Bu. Chapter 898 _ A thunderous sound resounded throughout the void. The fight between the three caused the void to oscillate, thunderous thunder, and even the aftermath of their fight had golden lightning entangling and entangling. The intensity of this battle is even more intense than before. The power of the father and son of Sun Wufan and Sun Wukong is very terrifying. The combat power between the two teamed up is no longer 1 + 1 greater than 2, but a step further, reaching 1 + 1 greater than 3, greater than 4, resulting in a qualitative change. Majin Bu's fat body, at this moment, showed a completely different flexibility from its original appearance. This is a nimble fat man. He used his hands and feet to completely take over the attacks of the two Sun Wukong. Hey, it's not enough. Hee, there was a hint of mockery in Majin Bu's eyes. At this moment, Bu burst out with a powerful force that shocked everyone present. He was 1-2, and until now, he was only overwhelmed by the attacks of the other two, but he was not hit by a punch and suffered any damage. This terrifying strength made Sun Wukong's father and son's eyes even more solemn. What a formidable opponent. The two looked at each other and attacked again. But as time passed, Majin Bu responded more and more calmly. It was as if the attacks of the two of them kept Bu escalating. After half an hour, the faces of Sun Wukong and the two had become ugly, and the pressure in their hearts was very great. So far, the two still haven't hit Bu once. Such a phenomenon was not at all like the dullness that Bu showed at the beginning. He can flexibly and quickly dodge any powerful attack. Moreover, until now, when the two of Sun Wukong retreated and rested, he could still pose a grimace to provoke the two of them. Is that enough power? Not enough, not enough. Hee. This innocent look made Sun Wukong look at each other with extreme dignified eyes. The more you fight, the easier it seems for the opponent. On the contrary, because of a series of attacks, they have lost a lot of energy and feel exhausted. You fat bastard, you are too arrogant. Vegeta flew over with a cold face. He was in the air and instantly transformed into Super Saiyan 2, and his strength reached the limit. Immediately after a flash, he reached Bu's face and threw a punch. Well. Bu seemed to react at this moment, turning to face Vegeta. This punch quickly magnified in front of his eyes, and the speed was unparalleled. At close range, it was difficult to dodge. But after a punch, it was empty. The punch went through Bu's body, but missed. How is that possible? Disbelief flashed in Vegeta's eyes. He had fought with Bu, and at that time, the other party couldn't dodge any of his attacks at all. But now, he didn't even see the trajectory of the other party's movement. How the hell did you escape? His heart was full of doubts, and Vegeta couldn't understand. Be careful. Vegeta. At this moment, the loud shouts of Sun Wukong and the two suddenly came over. Vegeta's pupils contracted, and her body couldn't help but turn back. You are too slow. A low, sharp voice came from behind, followed closely, and before he turned around, a punch had already hit him in the back. Bang! The punch was heavy, and Vegeta's body was immediately knocked out. A mouthful of blood spurted out in the air, and a second later, Vegeta hit the ground, splashing all over the sky with dust. It's scary. It was only then that Vegeta felt the terrifying power of Majin Buu. When not moving, this purple fat man looks harmless to humans and animals, but once it moves, that destructive power is like the collapse of the world, making people desperate. He was about to get up again, but he couldn't help but feel the pain behind him, and he froze in place, unable to move. Vegeta. At this time, Kai Wangshan and others also came over, and Jabit quickly healed Vegeta. Son Goku, father and son, once again fought against Demon Buu. Boom 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 boom. Qigong waves flew around, splashing on the ground, causing a circle of explosions. The battle again made Sun Wukong's eyes more and more solemn. No, Dad, he's getting stronger. What the hell is going on? Sun Wufan said in a low voice. He could clearly feel that more and more heavy force was coming from the opponent's fist. Incomparably huge energy fluctuations are lurking in his body. At this time, this energy just detonated, and in the battle with us, it began to be continuously pulled out. Sun Wukong said solemnly. With the battle, his understanding of the opponent deepened. No one can make progress so fast. Inside the body of Majin Buu, there must be this huge energy lurking in the beginning. At the beginning, he had just woken up, and this energy was not all triggered, but only a part of it. This is also the beginning. Majin Buu can be injured by Vegeta, and his body is dented. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. Reason. At this time, Majin Buu, even if Sun Wukong was dispatched with all his strength, it was difficult to hit the opponent. The more you fight, the more powerful the power generated in Majin Buu's body, and the more difficult it will be to deal with. Something is wrong. Sun Wukong's forehead was full of sweat, staring at Majin Buu. The same goes for Sun Gohan. Now, both of them feel more pressure. As long as you fight, it will trigger the bottomless energy inside the opponent's body. If you don't fight, it is impossible to get things. Hey, are you afraid? Majin Buu smiled. His chubby figure jumped and came directly in front of the two of them. Two fists, one to the left and one to the right, punched the two of them in front of each other, and punched them out fiercely. Bang! The two of Sun Wukong immediately responded in a hurry and collided with Majin Buu. But the result changed their faces slightly. With this punch, the two of them actually took a small step back. The huge power. At this moment, they are fighting with their own strength, and they can no longer maintain the balance. The mighty power of Majin Buu has now reached the limit that the two of them can fight against. Something's wrong. At this moment, Majin Buu let out an evil laugh and attacked again. Chapter 899 _ Bang! The speed and power of this punch surpassed that before. The faces of Sun Wukong changed greatly, and they hurriedly attacked. But with one punch, the two stepped back again, this time in 2 steps. Hee hee. Majin Buu let out a laugh and threw another punch. Now, it's my time to attack. His power surged, and in an instant he launched another attack. The terrifying power, driving the strong wind, was in front of Sun Wukong and the two in the blink of an eye. So fast. The color of the two changed, and they hurriedly raised their arms to block in front of them. But, bang! The dull voice sounded again, this time the bodies of the two were directly knocked out. It's too powerful. Sun Wukong rubbed his sore arm, and there was a light blue-purple trace where Buu hit. But still, Dad. Sun Gohan worked hard and took a deep breath. The pressure on the opposite Majin Buu is too great. The next moment, the three fought together again. Majin Buu is very powerful. One person fights 2 Saiyans in Super Saiyan 3, and the more they fight, the stronger they become. He felt the power that was constantly aroused in his body. Although he didn't know what was going on, his expression became more and more excited. Bang 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 bang. Every time the dull voice came out, the two of Sun Wukong stepped back a lot, and there was a trace of pain on their faces. Turtle School Qigong Wave. Finally, the two stepped back dozens of meters, both hands gathered in front of them, and a huge light blue energy group gathered in an instant, and blasted towards Demon Boo. At this moment, the movements and expressions of the father and son were surprisingly consistent, and the energy fluctuations exploded, and in an instant they arrived in front of Majin Buu. Well. Boo blinked and reacted quickly, and his eyes flashed suddenly at the moment. In the next second, 2 red beams of light shot out from his eyes, and in just an instant, they reached the air and collided with the 2 people's turtle Qigong. Buzz. The energy fluctuations made the void tremble, and the 4 thick energy columns began to cancel each other, merge, and explode. Circles of void ripples spread around, and the ground that was affected, even if it was just a little bit, would explode violently, burning flames soaring into the sky. This energy is so terrifying. These 3 guys, as long as they don't pay attention, the whole earth will be shattered. The king of the realm said nervously. Vegeta watched the battle of the 3, her eyes flashing with desire and hope, but after thinking about it, she was unwilling to give up. He had to admit, he was falling behind again. Sun Wukong and his son have surpassed him and reached a realm that he could not imagine. He was knocked away by Boo with just 1 punch, but these 2 were able to fight each other for so long. Just from the breath of the 2 people he felt at the moment, made him tremble, and there was some inexplicable fear. Damn it! Clenching his fists, Vegeta was unwilling. The battle in the field is getting more and more intense, and the energy confrontation is the most dangerous. If one is not good, the energy will explode, and it will explode directly and blow up the entire Earth. The energy in the bodies of these 3 people is more than capable of destroying the Earth. I am afraid that even destroying a solar system is an easy task. At this time, the collision of these 4 energy pillars made Kai Wang Shen tremble with fear, and both of them were trembling and shaking. They are afraid of being affected. It is conceivable that as long as one of this energy is not good, everyone present will have to finish the game. Ah! Sun Wukong roared loudly, and the energy in his hand erupted again, and Sun Wuhan also burst out at this moment. Demon Boo's expression changed slightly, and he saw that the other party's energy column was actually moving towards him. Humph! With a cold drink, Boo also increased the output of energy. For a while, a faint scorching smell appeared in the void, as if the space was scorched by the energy waves of these 3 people. After a full 10 breaths, this energy showdown has reached its limit. Gohan! Sun Wukong shouted loudly, sending all the remaining energy into his hands, and his expression became extremely hideous. Ah! The same is true for Sun Wuhan. The veins in his hands burst out, and all the remaining energy in his body exploded. What? Majin Buu saw the sudden increase in the energy column, and his eyes flashed with surprise. Immediately after that, the suddenly increased energy was quickly suppressed in front of him. In just a few seconds, it was already in front of him, and then swallowed him in one bite, making him fly fast in the direction of space. 2 long light blue energy pillars completely bombarded Boo's body directly, causing him to scream. Damn it! Under this powerful impact, Boo was completely unable to do any resistance at this time. He couldn't even exert his strength, and could only be forced to shout. Even when he saw his body, in under this powerful energy, it began to dissolve again. Even if he is much stronger again, in such pure energy. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. Under the attack, the body still couldn't bear it. Soon, these 2 energy pillars completely pushed Boo's body out of the atmosphere, turning the latter into a black spot, followed by a brilliant light and then disappeared. Woohoo! Sun Wukong and the 2 looked at Boo, who was blasted into outer space. At this moment, Chuan, who had just snorted, became angry, and a trace of relief flashed in his eyes. Did it work? Gohan asked. I don't know. Sun Wukong's face was still a little dignified, and subconsciously he felt that the other party was not so easy to deal with. Boo was blasted into outer space. Kai Wang Shen said excitedly, but he reacted after him, his figure flashed, and he immediately came to Babiti's side. You must die. The king's voice was cold and decisive. This evil sorcerer, can't let him live anymore, must deal with it quickly. Majin Buu has found a way to deal with it, but Kaioshin is very afraid of Babiti's magic. Dapra. Seeing that Kaiwang God found him, Babiti immediately shouted in horror. Although Dapra was afraid of Yang Qing, he had no scruples about the Kaiwang God. Zhuang Shen, don't think about it, hurry up and retreat. At this time, Yang Qing was looking up at the sky. His eyes seemed to faintly see the demon Buu, who was constantly reacting and quickly merging again in the explosion in outer space. Really, what a noise. Muttering, Yang Qing waved his finger, and 2 red rays of light shot out. Chapter 902 Weak. The crimson beam reached Dapra in the blink of an eye, causing his pupils to shrink, and an unspeakable fear swept over his head, making him unable to think of avoiding or blocking the blow at this moment. Fast, too fast. Hey! An instant, the beam of light pierced through his mouth, and Dapra was shocked, and at the same time he had lost the breath of life. Followed by another beam. The beam came to Babiti's eyes, and the latter didn't even have a chance to resist, so it was directly penetrated through his forehead, and he couldn't die any longer. Just for a moment, Dapra and Babiti were lying on the ground. This scene shocked Kaiwangshan, made Vegeta stunned, and made Sun Wukong and his son a little puzzled. In their eyes, especially Sun Wufan, Yang Qing has always looked like a master outside the world. He rarely shoots against powerful enemies, let alone kills anyone deliberately. In the hearts of Sun Wukong and others, Master Qing is unfathomable, his strength is bottomless, and it is terrifying. But at this moment, he actually shot. And, as soon as a shot is made, there are 2 lives. What? I'll help you kill them, is there a problem? Yang Qing smiled at the stunned World King Shinto. No, no. The Realm King shook his head quickly, and he was shocked. In his imagination, Dapra, who was very powerful and difficult to deal with, was instantly killed in an instant. How powerful is this man named Qing in front of him? Like him, the other party is also a realm god, but he has never heard of it. If you need it, Majin Buu, I can kill you too. Contrary to the expectations of the Realm King, Yang Qing's next sentence shocked him again. How is this possible? Kaiwangshan said incredulously, but immediately thought that the other party was Gohan's master. Can you really kill Majin Buu? The Realm King asked carefully. The strength of the other party shocked him to the extreme. Yes. Yang Qing nodded, his voice very affirmative. The conversation between the 2 did not deliberately hide anyone. These words were also heard by Sun Wukong and others. Is Majin Buu still alive? Sun Wukong's eyes immediately became solemn, and they looked up at the sky. There, the sky was blue and the sun was shining brightly, and there was no sign of Buu at all. There were doubts in the eyes of everyone, and there was some doubt about Yang Qing's words. With such a huge amount of energy, how could Buu not die? They clearly saw that in the energy column, the opponent's body was shattered inch by inch. But just as time passed slowly, after a dozen breaths passed by the breeze, a figure reappeared in the sky, short and fat, covered in purple, with anger surging on his face. It was Majin Buu. He was completely intact, as if he had not suffered any damage. Such a scene made the hearts of everyone present tremble, and the fear of Majin Buu had penetrated deep into their hearts. This guy can't be killed or injured, but he has a huge amount of energy. How to deal with it? Qing, can you really kill him? Kaiojin looked at Majin Buu, who was condescending in the sky, and said with a trembling voice. This guy called Buu really made Kaiwangshan worry to the extreme. Yes. Yang Qing replied again. Well. Standing in the sky, Buu, who was originally staring at Sun Wukong, immediately narrowed his eyes, his face became cold, and he glanced at Yang Qing. Buu couldn't be happier talking about people who could kill him in front of him. It's rude. Buu was very angry, and the purple mist above his head kept spraying and blowing. Qing, don't take action yet. This guy, I haven't fought enough with Gohan yet. At this time, Sun Wukong shouted loudly. Yang Qing was stunned for a moment, then shook his head and smiled. Since you are so interested, let's keep fighting. But don't get killed. The last sentence, like a joke, is a warning. This battle is extremely dangerous. If you are not careful, you may not even be able to leave dust on your body. Sun Wukong and the two naturally heard Yang Qing's meaning, their eyes dignified, and they looked at Majin Buu again in an attacking posture. Don't mess with Wukong, let Qing Shang. At this time, Kai Wangshen finally believed that Qing's power was going to surpass that of Sun Wukong. Kai Wangjin-sama, Boo, make his father and son very excited. A smile suddenly appeared on Sun Wukong's indifferent face. Such a strange smile caused the Realm King to be stunned for a moment. At this moment, the two of Sun Wukong acted, their knees bent, and the two of them rose from the ground almost at the same time, rushing towards Boo. Bang bang bang. This dull crash sounded when the two of them got off the ground. Their speed has reached an unbelievable level. The two of them madly punched Boo, trying to crush Boo directly with an absolutely powerful and fast punch. But after 3 breaths, Boo dodged countless punches from them expressionlessly, and took them both head-on. This chapter is not over. Click on the next page to continue reading. After punching at the same time, the faces of the two changed. You guys, make me angry. Standing face to face, Sun Wukong and the two could clearly feel the surging anger and coldness on each other's icy faces. Boom. 2 fists appeared in front of their stomachs at some point, and hit them hard. PFF'd. In an instant, the two of Sun Wukong vomited blood, and their faces became sluggish. Too weak. Boo's indifferent voice came, followed by 2 fists slamming into the back of their heads. Boom. The two were smashed to the ground with a punch, and in a short period of time, they even lost consciousness. After a full 5 seconds, Sun Wukong and Sun Wufan trembled and wanted to stand up. But at this time, they found that their strength was exhausted, and they could only maintain their normal state, and they couldn't help but look ugly. You two, you have to die. Boo's indifferent voice sounded from behind, followed by the sound of Boo, and the father and son froze and looked extremely ugly. That is the light of the energy group, the sound of the gathering, and even the violent energy, they can clearly perceive it with their backs to it. Hey! The red light shone, and 2 Qigong waves rushed towards the two of them. Gohan, Goku, Kakarot. 2 loud roars sounded, and the voices were full of worry and anxiety. After a breath, the explosion came out loudly, and the flames soaring into the sky burned.